Good evening, everyone. So, as you can see, my trusty co-host isn't here. Either side. And there's a reason. His laptop has crashed. So he's trying to get that fixed. He's going to try to join us with the link through a tablet or something like that to try to get in here. But he said he was using the computer. He went to restart and defrag and do all this stuff on his hard drive, and it just keeps taking him to the blue screen of death now. So yeah, so that's crazy. So obviously it's not how our show normally starts, but it is what it is right now. Good evening, LaGrange Bees, and the 10 other people outside of LaGrange Bees that are watching right now. Please leave a comment in the comments so we know who's here. And as usual, we got the link up on the side so you can join in to the live stream if you choose to. Man, it's just been a crazy couple of days with everything. I mean, I'm going to be selling my first nukes this week. That's not something that I really planned on. It just somebody needed some nukes, and there was an opportunity, and I was like, okay, we'll sell us a nuke. Hey, Johnny. So we're going to sell 2 nukes on Saturday. I did the force abscond. Customer said that there's no more bees coming out into the garage, which is pretty much what I figured. There's all the bees that could come out came out of the building. And then I blocked it up with the steel wool, and I left the Pro Nuke there with some frames in it. Hey, look who we got. Houston.
What's up, brother?
What's going on? Hey, let me put my ears on. Hold on. I heard you say it, but I forgot I had these going. I don't need them when I'm talking to myself. So
What's going on, man?
Not too much, man. Just working. How you doing? You look chipper today.
I went to Greg Burns to pick up some bees. I'm just now leaving Ohio.
Oh, really? So how long a trip you got going back?
5 hours.
5 hours. Hey, we might be done with the live stream by that time. Well, good, man. I'm glad you got some bees. How many did you get? How many packages or whatever?
I only got 2 packages, dude. So
okay.
I drove 5 hours for 2 packages. Well, that wasn't the other reason, but I'm just bringing back two packages.
But hey, that means you get to start beekeeping.
Right. Yeah, maybe I can pull that overwinter dive out of its slump. I'm hoping.
Right. Hey, it'll start ramping up, but it's kind of like a snowball effect, right? So over winter, if they get too small, then they're only going to lay a little tiny cluster because that's all they can cover.
Sorry,
And
I had a
then,
strangler.
no problem. Then they're going to only lay this little cluster, and then it's going to, because that's all they can cap, right? So it takes them a while to build up.
Yeah, they're just barely covering a couple of frames still, and not how they came through the winter.
Right.
I don't think the queen, if I can get her out of here.
Hey, Tom. We got a lot of people showing up. So, hey, LaGrange. So, yes, typically a forced abscond would leave a lot of honey in the wall, but this colony just got there night before last. It was a swarm that moved in. So, it's only been there a day and a half, 2 days max. So, they've had time to build some comb or whatever, but not enough time to store much back, I wouldn't think.
So did you get them out?
I got him out to the point there was no more coming out of the hole, but I never saw a queen. But see, the thing is that this homeowner had just bought that house like a couple months ago. So you know when you buy a house, a lot of times they'll come through with the pest control ahead of time. So I noticed that any bees that were getting into the garage and not going to the outside were just pretty much coming through and dying. So it was like, that didn't make any sense. The ones that were coming out were getting out fine from the back, but the ones that go in the garage would die. So I sprayed some honey be gone where I saw they were coming out around this black pipe, and they stopped coming out of there and were coming out of the outside. So I smoked them till their eyes watered, and hit them with the honey be gone. And when they stopped coming out of the wall, I plugged it up and left the nuke there. 2 reasons. I left the nuke there, A, so hopefully those that came out of the wall will actually start using it. And B, there might be another cast-off swarm that comes in the neighborhood here shortly, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of what I was trying to gather from them.
And you sold the guy some nooks too, didn't you?
No, so what happened, I went to the beekeeping supply store, and I was in there looking for some stuff, and there was a military guy that was in there that was there looking for some nukes, but they didn't have any more. So I'm like, oh, well, what part of town do you live on? It turns out he lives close to me. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'll sell you a couple nukes.
Yeah, right.
So he's coming over on Saturday to pick up 2 nukes, you know.
That worked out good for you.
Yeah, and then while I'm standing there after I'm talking to that guy, that's when the guy for the bees in his house came by. So went ahead and said, oh, well, I'll go check that one out too. I was hoping that the way he explained it was, oh, there's only some plywood on the inside, so it should be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they were on that outside wall that didn't have the electrical panel and the water heater and the timer and everything else, washer and dryer in front of it, you know, a cabinet on the wall, stairs coming down with a banister. Yeah, it'd be easy to get those out, but not where yours are. So you know, the main thing was just getting them out of the guy's wall. And to be honest with you, I never saw the queen, but the chances are, judging from the bees that were coming into the house, they might have just died in the wall too, because you don't know.
That's true. Yeah, they might.
I mean, because somebody sprayed it on the inside of the garage and everything, so just no way to tell.
I'd be lucky. Get a trap out.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I got there. He sent me pictures. Let me see if I've got the. Of course, if you're just tuning in, Lee's computer crashed, guys. So he's working on trying to fix it. And I don't know if y'all would be able to see. No, probably not. But that's on the back end of the nuke right there. And that's on the front. But you see the entrance is right there. It's like, get your lazy butts in the building.
Did you crack the lid?
Yeah, it's cracked a little bit, but I mean, they're sitting like literally right above the entrance. I mean, come on. You just got to walk down just a little bit and you're home free. But
well, they might not. But
yeah, I mean, it's just a small cluster, you know. I told him, I said, there's about 3 ways this can go. Either they'll start building comb on the outside of the box, or they'll go in the box, or they're going to fly off. You know, that's about the only options there are. Either way, they're out of your house, you know. Yeah, I actually got some Swarm Commander inside the box, but it may be a little strong for them at first. You know, when you first put it in there, it's pretty strong. So maybe it's got to cool down a bit. But yeah, I saw a bunch of comments today. You need a BVAC. Absolutely. If I'm going to be doing that, I need a BVAC.
Right.
You know, but baby steps.
Off the wall kind of thing for you, right? You just happened into it, right?
Just happened into that one. And, you know, when someone says, oh, well, there's only paneling. And, well, yeah, there is only paneling if it was on the other wall. But on that wall, there's not only paneling.
And you can get into a real mess doing cutouts, too, if you're not careful. You don't have construction background, specialized house stuff or anything.
I'm going to tell you what I ended up doing. I went on the inside, up above where they were. I took a 3/4 inch paddle bit and drilled a hole in the garage side, right, at the top. Put duct tape on it, and then every so often I would come in and either smoke them from the inside and put the tape back over the hole, right? Or spray the Honey Be Gone in there and put the tape back over the hole. And just to get them to start moving down towards the light, you know, to come out.
Right. And you might get lucky, dude. It might work out good.
Well, that, like I said, that colony just moved there Sunday evening. So, and I went over there Monday and then again today. So it's been less than 2 days that it's been in there, that bee colony. So we'll see what happens with it. But let me see. I'm trying to. No, there's still wool in that brick wall. So hopefully no mice move in his place. My mice have been getting terminated with extreme prejudice. Oh, and I don't have mice. I've got rats. And my rats have been getting decimated. And man, you know what? You got some birds and stuff like that too, right? You got chickens and whatnot out there.
Yeah.
Is it me, or do they just figure when you are either tired or it's getting ready to rain that they just need to make extra work for you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, most of the time. But I keep mine pinned up too, though. And I got 2 clocks in 2 separate pins. So.
Well, I got the pig, right? I got Porky.
Right.
And it was raining. And she decided she was going to get out. So she put her snout underneath the bottom of the chain link door and just lifted it off the hinges. And then she's out there. So I get some of those like granola bars that have the nuts and peanut butter on them and everything. And she'll follow me back into her pen and I'll put it down. And I tied it all off and everything. Came back out. She's back out again. And we were just. Well, I got her bacony behind today. I took the top hinge off and flipped it upside down, so now they're sandwiched in between. So now she can't lift them off anymore. But I was standing out there in the rain trying to pig wrangle. And if she don't want to go somewhere, she ain't going.
Right.
So
How old is your pig? How long have you had
probably,
her?
I've had her a little over a year. So yeah, she should have been bacon and chops a long time ago, but you know,
Right.
she's
She's a
just a
pet
pet.
now, right?
Yeah, she's a pet now. She's got a name. Can't kill her if she's got a name.
Right. Oh, bacon. That's what.
That's it. Let me see.
But
Hey.
I've seen people have those pigs in their house.
Oh yeah, well, not me. If
Yeah,
my dogs ain't coming in the house, the pigs sure ain't coming in the house.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you. I see the side chat going on about the small dogs I have as far as rats. I don't have them anymore. Last night was the first night that I didn't hear any rodents at all in the attic. So that box of Tomcat chunks, that took them out.
You might be winning the battle, man. Yeah.
Oh, they're definitely not in my pump house anymore. And I don't hear them in the house anymore. Those was just little rats. Hey, they're big rats for where I'm at.
Well, they can chew through steel, believe it or not, a rat can. So it's a good thing you got them out of there. Caused you some real problems in there.
Oh, good job,
Not to
James.
mention just the bugs.
I'll tell you, James Knoll said he sold $180 in honey today. That's awesome.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
But between Sunday afternoon and Monday afternoon, I sold about $400 worth out in my yard. In my yard, so it's
After
definitely good.
$30 you got there, you made an extra.
Yep. And then to go to spend money, and then see, this is kind of how my luck has been this year. Knock on wood, it's been pretty good. I mean, so I got 3 nukes for the price of 2, right? And they were discounted nukes a few weeks ago anyway. They were $250 for 3 nukes, which is less than.
And how they do it?
They're doing good, and so now this guy's going to buy 2 nukes for $400. So basically, I got a nuke and $150 for free for boxing up, up 2 nukes. So
you got to do the work, to make a nuke. So
right. So I've got some 5 framers. I'm gonna put them together. I'm gonna put them together some good nukes and let it go. So what you been up to other than going to get bees?
Just been working, man. So all the summertime chores are here. All the fruit trees to prune, plant in the garden. Honeydew,
right?
Just covered up, man.
I can't.
And then
I can't get ahead. I've been busy ever since. It's just been constant. So you go out there and work your bees, and then I'll be elbows deep in the colony, and someone will stop to buy honey because they see me in the yard. And then I got to go in with my bee suit on to go get the honey.
Yeah.
So,
you have to make your dummy box, set outside while you're in the bee yard, and have a few jars in there. That way you can just, here you go.
I might have to do like from Rob from La Robbie's and just put a vending machine in my front yard with a long extension cord where they can just drive up and vend the machine and go. Something like that. But it's pretty good. I mean, I can't complain about it. What's going on? Oh, okay. So He'll be right back, probably. He must have been getting a phone call. Yeah, so, I mean, it's just been kind of one of those crazy years where things have kind of just been falling in. Now, I'm not working right now. No, DC, those cheap bees were actually from a guy that, okay, so the owner of Blythewood Bee Company, his son-in-law does removals and swarm captures. So his boxes were full. He had to empty out equipment so he could go catch more swarms. And he didn't think they were all queen right. So he sold me 2 of them. But when I went back and checked them all, they all had queens. So that's I mean, they're doing good. So we're gonna roll with them right now. Let me see. Yeah, I can't spending money fast for sure. But I'm pretty, knock on wood, I think I'm done right now spending money on bee equipment. I've got enough to do. I could basically I probably could make 10 nukes if I wanted to by, well, first of all, I'm going to sell two of the nukes that I've got. So that's going to open up equipment. And then I've got 10 more 10 frame bottoms and 10 frame tops. So I've got some room to maneuver a bit on equipment. And I've got a couple colonies I could probably take down to a 5 frame. Yeah, you're never really done buying equipment, but at least I think I can make it through this season, especially if I sell a few nukes. Well, I mean, as far as extracting equipment, I don't know if you guys saw the video, but my Lysin bottling tank came in and the pneumatic valve came in today, but I haven't been able to. Oh, well, there you go. $145 on Craigslist. I actually bought some cheap nukes like that in my first year, but I had to drive yeah, I'm hoping to. Right now I've got nothing to bottle at this very minute, but I'm planning to. It's just out right now. I've got 2 sawhorses together in the box is sitting on top with the valve on top of that. So I'm really excited about the pneumatic valve. So that'll be the most exciting part. I mean, a bottling tank, it's a tank, that warms up the honey. So I mean, that's not too exciting. But I haven't seen anybody else using that valve. And Betterbee says that's what they use when they bottle their honey. So we're going to try it. Let me see. In my same county seems to. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe there's not that many beekeepers down there. It's funny because when I left that abscond that I went to today, going home, right around the corner, there's somebody that's got deep hive bodies, and it looks like probably a 3 or 4 deep with a lid on it, but in the top box was cut out for the mailbox. So it's a stack of hive bodies, but it's a mailbox. It's their mailbox that they use. So I thought that was pretty neat, but that's probably where the bees came from that went in this guy's wall. Did you get the same? I'll tell you what, LaGrange, the Lysin bottler is cheaper, less expensive than the Maxant. So that's why I went with that one. And I mean, and the one I got is not water jacketed. So some people might say that's the thing, but but I got the license without the. Let me see if it's on here. If I've got it up here, let me see. Hilco. I got so many tabs open. Dadan open. Better be. Let me see if I can find it in here. The one that I got, and then I'll share it. And it's just hard to see. Which one did I get? Hell, I don't even remember which one I got now. Oh, I got the 18. Pretty sure. Where's it at? Might be on the second page. Yep, I'll show you the price difference right now. So let me come back to StreamYard, do the screen share, share screen, Chrome tab. There we go, share. And then I got to come back here and share it again. Add to stream. All right. So hopefully, can you guys see that? Is that better? I don't know. Or this one. Just take, no, that don't do anything. Put me back here. So I got, this is the one I got. You see the 18-gallon heated Lyson is $8.79. The 16-gallon Maxant is $14.50. This one is water jacketed. The one I got is, no, this is the one I got right here. Sorry. I got the 18-gallon heated tank for $9.89. So it's $500, $450, $500 cheaper than the Maxant. And I mean, it's not jacketed, but it's got warming coils in it. So this is the one that I got. Yeah, Lyson is less expensive for sure, but that's the one I got right there. And then I got the bottling valve, and I'll show you the valve if I can find it right here. Maybe there we go. A few larger. That's the bottling valve that I got. So you hook it to your compressor right here, airline. When you push the pedal, it opens the valve up, lets the honey come out. When you let off the pedal, it closes the valve and stops it. So that's the valve that I got. So I don't know. I haven't seen anybody else use this particular one on YouTube. I looked all over the place, so it's kind of a gamble for me at this point on it. But I figured if it's just me and I'm sitting there, and here, I'll stop my screen share. So if it's just me and I'm sitting there and I've got my foot pedal, I'm actually able to put a jar in there, hit the pedal, fill it up, spin the lid on, set it down, grab another jar, hit the foot pedal, spin the lid on, set it down, and just keep it rotating. So essentially, I was able to get that bottling, the tank and the valve, the air valve. It cost me $18.90 shipped. So that was the thing. Yeah, I only had the plastic bucket with the gate valve on it, and that thing always leaked. And after I bought the extractor and everything, then I'm like, well, that's a piece of crap, So that was like the weakest link in my thing. So I went ahead and went with the valve. Now here's the thing. So the one drip valve that everybody likes to use is $200 now. If you haven't noticed, it's $200 for that valve, and the air valve was it's more expensive, but it's we'll see how it goes. Let me see. I'm trying to catch up with some of these things. Some of these chats. I don't have Lee. Lee isn't here to post everything up. Since his computer died. Let me see. Make sure you ain't got anything. Make sure you hadn't sent me a message or something saying anything. Nope, nothing on the phone. So yeah, so guys, if you want to join in, I'll post the link again. Anybody come on in and let's talk some bees. Otherwise, this could be a short night. Hey, LaGrange, come on in. We'll talk license. Hey, Taylor boys. Storms. Yeah, we had storms a little bit earlier. I know. So I'm right now. I hate to say I can't see anything. Oh. $1,000 game and video card that died. Watching B videos. Hey, I've been there. I've got 2 computers right here, so I could actually, if I had to, pull the spare and get in. But the let me see. Oh, you know what else? I went to go pick that equipment up from the shipper, and the lady was like, "You know what? Somebody had honey bottles shipped here, and they never came picked them up." I said, well, find out about them, because if they're just sitting here, I'll buy them. Dry cut, what's a computer? Lee's probably ordering his from his tablet right now. It'll probably be a super mega computer. Yeah, I know. The video cards are kind of up there right now. But man, I can't believe nobody wants to come on and talk bees tonight. I don't see the hillbilly beekeeper ain't here. Rich hadn't shown up. Charlie hadn't shown up. Mike hadn't shown up. Where is everybody? William, he's usually on his way to his hockey game. He hadn't shown up. He's in the chat. Yeah, I just built this one I've got over here that I'm using to stream tonight. So, is that the magic picture box with the extra letter buttons? Yes, sir. Yeah, it is swarm season. I've gotten a couple calls so far. One last week, one this. Looky here, looky here. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
Ooh, pretty good, man. We got the Walker brothers on here tonight.
Yeah, since you couldn't talk anybody else into coming on, I thought I'd jump on for a minute.
Everybody leaving me hanging tonight. You see that? Oh,
yeah.
You're at the Dry Cut says he's at the Atlanta airport. Well, you should have good Wi-Fi then. Lee's computer died, so he sent me a message. I was on the phone with him until about 10 seconds before we went live. He's like, all right, I know the video's getting ready to go, so I'll talk to you in a little while. I'll see if I can get on. So he's trying to work it out.
I got the reminder from both of you guys you're about to go on, so I was waiting, and then heard Lee wasn't going to be able to make it.
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, he's still knowing Lee. He's OCD, so he's trying to figure it out.
Yeah, he'll probably get in here.
I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah.
See what happens. But how's things been going for you?
Going good, Bob. I've caught a couple swarms the last few days.
Nice.
And had a queen in a clip because it seemed like they were going to maybe try to leave again. So I went over and they were hanging on the outside of the box. Saw the queen, got her in a clip, put her in the box, and they all went in. And so looks like today I went in to let her out of the clip, and they were already pulling some comb.
That's nice.
And so hopefully they're going to stay there.
Well, if she stays in the clip, they don't have much choice.
Yeah, well, I let her out today, and And just like you and Lee were talking about the other night, how sometimes she flew off, but then she came back pretty quick.
Right to the front. Usually, she'll come back in the front.
Yeah, it tripped me out for a second, but anyway, I think she's probably a virgin queen though. I'm pretty sure it's a swarm off of a nuke I bought from Knoxville.
Okay.
And because it had 4 swarm cells in it, and what I did is I tried to split that into two different hives. I bought 2 nukes from this fellow, and one of them was fantastic, and it's doing really good. I've already put a second deep on it, but this other one, it seemed like it looked pretty weak. It had all those cells in it, but there weren't that many bees, as if maybe it had already swarmed once.
Right.
And with the original queen. So anyway, I tried to split it, and anyway, I think what I've got now is I've caught 2 swarms off of that box, and I think the original one is queenless. And so I put a frame of eggs in there, and I'm hoping that they'll raise their own queen. If not, I'll combine them back.
All right. We got LaGrange. I'm gonna add LaGrange in if you don't mind.
Awesome.
LaGrange, what's up, brother?
Hello.
You doing okay?
Oh yeah.
So you pulled the trigger and bought the licensed 30 framer.
Yeah, when I made sure it fit through the door, I bought it.
It's pretty nice machine, isn't it?
Oh God, you should see my old extractor. It's a dinky 2-framer, like a sideways extractor. You have to flip the frame.
Oh yeah.
To give you an example, it took me 8 hours to extract maybe 60 frames.
Now it'll take you like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you get the so you bought an uncapping tank too?
Yeah, well, an uncapping tank, a plastic one with a honey gate and a rack to hold the frames.
Okay.
I did not get another. Sorry, English is not my first language. I did not get an automatic uncapper. I was a bit beyond my financial range, should I say?
Baby steps.
Yeah,
baby steps. That's what it takes. I only got it because I happened to have it, at the time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. It'd have been like, what the hell am I doing, spending this crazy money? You just got to get the equipment you can afford when you can afford it and when it makes sense, because it made sense to me for the extractor last year as well, because it was very similar. I mean, I've got an 8-frame/4 frame, right? So it's 8 mediums, 4 deeps, but the deeps had to sit like yours, tangential. So you'd have to spin them one way, and then you'd have to take them out and flip them around and spin them the other way. So it took twice as long to run the frames. So the 30 frame wasn't really that much more expensive than the 20 frame. So that's why I went with the 30 frame.
Same reason. I mean, the extractor is the largest piece of equipment I needed for right now. I might get an enclosed trailer or buy a flatbed and build a honey house on it, because I live in an apartment. So I can't extract large amounts of honey in here.
See, now the problem is now your bottleneck's going to be the uncapping. So
Yeah.
I didn't have any uncapper. I didn't have any uncapping tank. I had a tote, and I was just, doing the frames that would go in the extractor, doing it in my kitchen. So it was really just a slow process all the way around. So that's why I bought the uncapping tank and the extractor at the same time, and the steam uncapper. So
Yeah. My uncapper is manual. Again, baby steps, but it's way better than the bucket.
Hold on one second for me, guys. Go ahead and talk. I can hear you. I'm just, my mom that's got Alzheimer's decided she was just going to walk in on me. So hold on.
Okay. I got myself like this like small uncapping tank with a frame that like a support that holds frames, so I can use the uncapping knife, which was miles ahead of what I had before, which was basically a bar of wood with screws that would prevent it from moving off a bucket. I would uncap on top of a bucket like that. It was a pain to use, but that's that. Like, wow. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I guess you just make use of what you have.
Yeah, that's the thing. But once I am like, the next step is probably going to be like building the honey house on a either flatbed or buying an enclosed. And then get another automatic uncapper or partially mechanical uncapper and a bottling tank, so I can have my mobile honey house. If I ever move, I can just hook up the honey house to a pickup and take it away.
Oh, sorry, I had left you guys running the show while I was gone. But
That's okay.
if y'all don't know, I'm here because my mother has Alzheimer's and we take care of her. So, just randomly, she just got up and walked in here, so I had to take care of that. I apologize.
No problem, Bob.
No problem, man.
But so yeah, I do like the idea of a mobile honey house, especially if you have out yards. I mean, that's pretty neat, right? You can just pull up there as long as you have the power to run everything.
Yeah, I saw this on a random video. The guy had his honey house in a small, about 16 feet long, I think, 16 or 20 feet, enclosed trailer. And oh, I could do that. It's probably the solution I need, considering where I live right now.
That's a good suggestion. If I had out yards, that would probably be a good thing for me. But right now,
you have a house with a porch you could convert into a honey house. So
yeah, so that it made sense. Now, if I ever have to move my extractor back out, that's going to be a problem. So we'll worry about that if it ever happens, where I have to move it out. But I'll probably have to move it through the house and then come back around. So it's kind of crazy. So I'm really excited about this year's honey season in Flow. But I'm trying to keep my expectations tempered, right? I would like to make enough from honey to reimburse myself for what I've put out in equipment. However, that would take, I'd probably need at least 1,000 pounds of honey to do that. So, because $10 times 1,000, that's $10,000, right? That's about what I've spent out so far. So, yeah, I was thinking about buying that Simple Harmony Farms uncapper, but that to me it seemed like a little bit of extra work, because everybody I've seen do a video on it, it works really well, but they're all having to maneuver the frame 2 or 3 times, put it up and down to get the frame going. And who knows, I might still get one time, because I think for the uncapper I have, it has to have pretty thick frames. All right. Oh, look who we got. Look at that. How's it going, man? We're getting people from everywhere tonight. That's good. After I begged and pleaded, please come join the chat. So have you used any of those frames you got yet?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got some nukes that I had made, and they draw them out in a day and a half.
Really quick, right?
Yeah, it's quick. It's quick.
They do pretty good. So
I went ahead and ordered me some more.
Oh, did you order some?
Mm-hmm.
Did you order the Acorn, or did you order another brand?
No, I ordered the Acorn.
The heavy wax or the triple wax?
The double wax.
Yeah, it's good. I don't have any problems with them. Well, you're always going to have a problem sometimes where for some reason they start drawing out and then they decide to make a comb. And even when it's heavy wax, I don't know, but
yeah, they do that even on my regular frames.
What Randy say? I will sell you honey for $9. You can sell it for $10. So I make absolutely nothing because it costs me $1 in the jar, right?
Yeah, jars are expensive.
Well, hey, no, you got to order them from where we order them from. and I get nothing. But if it wasn't for Charlie telling us about this place, it's called gambercontainer.com. And 321 1-pound bottles, not glass, plastic, is like $97.
The question is, do they deliver to Canada?
I don't know. They're in Pennsylvania, so they might do it.
Could you put the name in the comments so I can just copy and paste it?
Yep. Let me. I had them up here, so. So Charlie, this is a tip we learned from Charlie. So this thing here, all the caps that he buys are the same, the flip top caps, and they fit his 1 pound, his 2 pound, and his 3 pound jars that he uses. So
that's pretty neat.
So the only thing he has to buy, you buy a case of lids that's 1,700 lids, and then he just buys his different sized bottles. So I know for a fact that 321 1 pound squeeze pet, the jars, I actually sold it, so I can't show it to you. But it's 30 cents for a jar, for a plastic squeeze jar. And then whatever the caps come out to.
Is it shipping very much?
It was for me. Lee paid, he got a case of lids and a case of bottles. It cost him, I think, $100, a little better than $100 to get down there to Louisiana. And it cost me like $97. But now with that being said, I don't have to order any more caps anytime soon. Yeah. So I can just order boxes of bottles, and they come in a big bulk square thing. You pull them out and fill them up and twist the top on them.
How did you do with the tailgate sale? And I seen you had going on.
So $400 in honey, and
really?
Within 24 hours, I sold $275 the first 3 hours because it got dark, and then the next day I had people come up and I sold another $105. So right at $400 in one day.
What size do you find people buying the most, Bob?
I had 3 sizes. So this has actually got some missing out, but I got a little one for $5, right? And then I have a 1 pound for $10, and then I sell a pint for $15. And I sold almost all of my pint jars, but I didn't do a good count on how much I set out there. I just kind of grabbed my stuff and put it out there. So I almost got everything off of my all of my pints I pretty much sold. I think I got 3 pints left, but I sold a bunch of $10 ones too, because people will say, well, give me 2 10, and they'll hand you a 20. And I only sold a couple of the $5 ones, but mostly the $10 and the $15 ones.
Do you sell any quart jars?
No, I don't. I haven't yet. The last quarts that I sold, had cut comb in them, and I charged some astronomical price for them because I don't like selling cut comb. And now I have people stopping. Do you have any cut comb? Nope, sure don't. Now it's like I got to do cut comb, or figure it out. But I haven't to this point done any quarts. And there's a little bit of mathematics behind it. And maybe it's just me messing things up in my head. So somebody wanted to buy 5 gallons from me the other day. And I'm like, I don't have 5 gallons I can sell you right now. And if I did, I probably wouldn't sell it to you anyway, because they, and I said, not to be mean, but I said, as a small business, if I sell you 5 gallons and you've already got a price of $220 from somebody for 5 gallons, I don't make any money doing that. So where I make money is by bottling it and selling it by the pound, right? So I can get $600 out of a 5 gallon pail. If I sold it to her for $220, then I'm missing $380 in sales.
Yeah.
So for me, at my scale, If I just had so much honey that I couldn't sell everything that I got, yeah, okay, then it makes sense. Get rid of it, make it a little bit of extra money, but it doesn't make sense for me to do that. Usually 1 pound, pound and a half, that's like the sweet spot around here. And they don't argue with the price. That's the main thing is some people, you go there and you see it and it's much more expensive than mine, but let me see. At Texas Beekeeper, he profits 50 to 60,000 per truckload, 408 hives. Not bad. Oh, they must be talking about pollination. See, without Lee, I'm lost. I can't keep an eye on that and talk over here and do everything. So, how do any of you guys? Are you guys selling any honey, or have you sold any honey?
No, the only thing I got is just honey left over for the family, and they come bring their jars and fill them up, and they go on.
And they say thank you. It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, this cost me money.
I did give a lot to family, but I sold some. I only made 12 gallons last year, but that's from only 4 nukes. So I have a pretty good spot for my bees.
Right.
This year I plan to raise queens to go up to 15 hives. So that's one of the reasons I got the better extractor.
Yeah, this year, right now I'm at 31. I was at 32 colonies, but I'm at 31 now because one of my colonies was really having a hard time and it looked like they went queenless. So I just took one of my nukes that had a queen and not as many bees as another one and dropped it right into the colony. And looks like they've accepted that queen. And the monster colony that I could never get to make a queen, I went out there the other day. Now they got a laying queen in there that just showed up out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, well, we'll just keep you in there, let you do your thing.
Well, are you gonna try to sell some nukes, or are you just gonna make all honey producers out of them?
Well, that's the funny thing is that I was at the bee store yesterday, and a guy was looking for nukes, but they didn't have any. And I said, well, hey, where do you live? Okay, and he lives like right up the road from me. So I said, well, come by. I'll sell you some. And he got my number. He's supposed to come Saturday and buy 2 nukes from me. So it'll be the first 2 nukes I put together. So
you're going to do 4 frame or 5 frame nukes?
5 frame nukes. Yeah, I've got some that I've already had that are the queen's in there laying. So I'm probably just going to put them in a pro nuke and then maybe add a few more bees out of another colony or frame of brood. Shoot them down with some 1-to-1 sugar water out of a spray bottle, merge them in and let them become sisters. And by the time they come on Friday, they should everybody be a happy family by then, just to make sure that they've got a nice nuke to start out with. Plus, on top of that, the guy's dad is coming down from Pennsylvania, and he's supposedly over 3 bee clubs up there. So his dad's coming here to pick the nukes up with them. And so he probably knows a lot more about bees than I do. So it's going to be like, what's this guy trying to do to me? Is he trying to rip me off? No. I'll be like, you don't like these nukes? Make some nukes, dude. I can fix it. It's not a problem. But I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, the thing is, whenever you go buy nukes, you never know what you're getting anyhow because they always close them up and lock them down. And unless you see them make them, you're not going to know what you got in the box.
Well, they're supposed to come Saturday morning. So I have to make them Friday. I'm probably going to make mine actually tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And, squirt them down with the sugar water and move them or put them in that location just so they have a nice few days to, get acquainted before they just take off and open the box off and bees go every damn where and don't know what's going on, But I'll probably make those tomorrow. Or worst case, I'll make them Friday afternoon. So the foragers are coming back and they're all, they're not wanting to go out there. And then they'll just be closed up until they come and get them and move them.
You just seal the hives once night comes.
Yep. And then then they'll have some nice little nukes. But it's yeah, so I wasn't planning to sell any nukes right now. I was actually thinking like my late season splits to sell maybe some nukes at that point. Just to keep my population a little bit under control going into the winter and, try to stop late season swarms. But if they're going to come get them, I'll take that $400 this week, I mean, I don't know. I would never really had planned on doing that right now, but it's the opportunity reared its head. So what would you guys do? Would you make a nuke and make 2 nukes and make $400 if you had 30 colonies?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
So,
but like you said, Bob, the point is to at least try to break even. And,
yeah. Try to.
I got some swarm cells that I had split into some nukes, and a lot of the queens just started to come back now, made it, and they're laying really good. So I was thinking about taking a few of those and maybe selling those. I got them in some pro nukes right now because I had 3 frame mating nukes, and once they came back and laid up that center frame full, they were gonna probably try to start swarming after that. So I went ahead and put them in a pro nuke and added them frames that you gave me,
Right.
and they've already started filling them out.
So that's they're nice frames. Where did you buy them from? If you don't mind me asking, where did you order yours from?
Mountain. Wait, I'd have to look because I ordered some boxes from Mountain Sweet Honey, and then I'd have to check again because I've been ordering a couple of things.
Right.
I don't know where I ordered what, but
well, the thing is, shipping is expensive. I know Blythe. See, here's the thing. I can drive to Blythewood Bee Company, so I don't pay shipping when I go there. They don't offer free shipping. They're kind of like Better Bee in that aspect. But every time I order something, I get a discount like the next time I come in. So like if I come and buy all my boxes, or you guys saw those lids and bottom boards I bought the other day that I painted up. So that was $300 worth of bottoms and tops that I bought, but I had $100 credit for buying my nukes. So now I got 10 bottoms, 10 tops for $200. I paid $10 a piece for them. So I keep trying to, I'm able to spin it a little bit. Man Lake used to do B-Bucks. I don't know if they might still do it, but I just don't order enough from Man Lake anymore to get that discount. Because it was like you had to order $800 worth to get the discount. So they're like really catering to the bigger beekeeper.
Yeah, you gotta buy a lot from Man Lake to get
save
B-Bucks, because I've bought a lot as a hobby, and I don't have one B-Buck.
Yeah, so that's kind of, if you ask me, that's backwards thinking. I mean, yeah, they're going to get a bulk discount as a commercial level anyway because they're buying bulk. They already get a discount. So there are much more backyard and sideline beekeepers that are ordering stuff that never get to that point of actually saving any money other than just shipping with them, So,
yeah, I mean that's the only thing you can look for is free shipping,
right?
I mean that, because some of that stuff to ship is outrageous.
Oh, trust me, I know. With the extractor and everything.
Yeah.
I paid my fair shipping this year. But I will say with Better Bee, I was able to put my tax number on file with them, so I don't pay taxes when I order from them.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that acorn frame is what I've been using. Last year, I used the acorn, just the black foundation. I've been using that pretty much since I started, or foundationless. And then when I bought all those boxes to do the expansion this year, I was like, yeah, that's a lot of money if I start putting 10 of those wooden frames with the foundation in them and all that in time. So I just went with the plastic one, and they're working well, so I can't complain about them. and saved a little bit of money. I'm trying to read and talk and stay social. Let me see. I passed TSA, no special searches or anything like that. Oh, not that you would tell us about those anal cavity searches they do at the airports. So LaGrange. Okay, so Cajun, what kind of extractor do you have?
Mine's just a little. It does 3 full frames, or it does 9 of the supers. The medium.
Is it hand crank or motorized?
No, it's motorized.
Motorized.
Yeah.
What do you use, Johnny?
I've just got a little cheap hand crank, Bob. I'm just getting back into beekeeping. I tried for a few years and gave it up, but just getting back into it this year. So I'm going to just try to stick with that 3-frame hand crank for now.
Well, when I started, I was thinking about getting a hand crank, and then I remember when I was a kid having to hand crank ice cream, and I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't do the hand crank.
And that's a lot slower. That's a lot slower cranking.
Yeah, I know. So I was like, yeah, I went ahead and I bought a cheap Amazon one. Look here, we got Charlie too coming in.
Wow.
Not Amazon. I bought an eBay one that was like $300, and it was a 4 or 8 frame. But it's it's all right. But my thing was to uncap it. I didn't have anywhere to hang my frames uncap, so I had to uncap them, then put them straight into the extractor. I'm gonna add Charlie in, guys.
Awesome. Charlie.
Wonder where you were.
Yeah, I heard you talking about me. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Lee's computer died. I'm sitting here by myself, struggling through, and nobody wanted to join. Houston joined from the road, and then he got disconnected. And then
You talking about putting them bees together and them nukes there. Get yourself some of that there peppermint extract that you got, and you mix that up with some sugar water, and then you spray them all down with that, and then they all smell the same, so they won't fight.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
Good idea.
And there's Houston. Can I get 6? Can we get 6 in here?
Yeah, I think 6 is the max.
Look,
Right.
look at that. Look, man, they went from daylight to dark real quick.
Houston.
All right. What's going on, guys?
We got a full house now, man. We got beekeepers from
Everybody's in there
Louisiana.
now.
We got a full house. We got Canada, Louisiana, Tennessee, Maryland, Kentucky, and South Carolina. We got the whole gamut covered tonight.
That's cool.
So you still got 4 more hours to drive.
Yeah, about that, brother. Yeah, it's crazy.
The thing we do for bees.
Yeah.
It's well worth it, though, man. Really, I like dealing with Greg. He's a great guy to deal with.
Who's that, Greg Burns?
Yeah, he went to Ohio and picked up some bees today.
And that traffic is just murder tonight, huh? Crazy.
I
What
was.
do you guys?
We've been talking about beekeeping equipment and different things, making nukes and what else? I was actually supposed to go to Kudix today with a buddy of mine and pick up some queens, but I got stuck on that forced abscond out there, so I wasn't able to go with him. So
Why don't you? Could you pick up some nukes over there and just sell them?
I don't know if they still have any nukes. Last time I was there, Octavio said that he needed a 2-week notice. But now it's like at the end of the season, and they're getting ready to go back to New York. So who knows what they got down there that they're trying to unload. Maybe I'll give them a call in the morning.
I would.
Go spend this honey money that's burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah, but you could spend it and then make an extra whatever. I'm sure you're going to get it for a discount over there. And
Yeah,
and his roots over there are superb.
Well, the queens that I got from them are doing good. I just had a problem with not the queens, but the amount of bees that are in the nukes with the queens right now. So I'm probably gonna have to drop them an extra frame of bees in there as well, just to give them some extra bees to take care of stuff, so they can start expanding quicker.
Well, just go down and equalize your hives out with brood frames. That's what I did Saturday.
And I've got to make a nuke for myself to put into my observation hive for the kitties for next week, for the 3rd.
Awesome.
So the observation hive, what, 2 or 3 frames?
No, it's 6 frames. It holds 5 in the bottom and 1 up in the top for man light.
Oh, okay.
So I took it out last week and sprayed it down with some Minwax clear, just keeping it the natural finish on there, and
So
trying to get.
You put an extra feed frame in there, Bob, with that when you pull the queen up. Is that what you do with that extra space?
Well, yeah, but I'll probably just put a blank down there to fill the hole. Because they won't be able to see anything in the bottom, right? They'll only be able to see that 1 frame in the top.
Right. I thought maybe you put a feed frame in there or something because they couldn't see it,
I could. I mean, just as long as I hold the space, I'll just have to take it back out when I put her back down and take the top off and put a regular lid on it, right?
Right. They're just cooped up. I thought you might put the extra feed in there.
Have you guys seen that thing before? That observation hive?
No.
All right, hold on. I'll
I
grab
have
it. It's in my kitchen. Hold on, I'll go grab it. Y'all talk amongst y'all selves. Hold on.
Hey,
Charlie, you've been making videos, ain't you?
What's that, Houston?
I just said you've been busy making videos lately, ain't you?
Oh, I've been. The last 2 weeks have been beekeeping crazy for me.
I saw that.
Took a trip down to Georgia, picked up a truckload of bees, got back. Before that, I sold like 13 nukes before I left and installed 10 queens. And let's see.
The season just getting started.
Yeah, this week we had 2 weeks worth of halfway decent weather, and then this week it's going to go. We're going to have like frost on 30 or in the 30s on Friday. It's like what, It's cold. It's raining right now. It's going to be cold the rest of the week. I think it's supposed to get up to 65 Saturday, and during the daytime. So maybe I can get back out in the nuke yard and go through the nukes and check them and see how the queens are doing and that kind of thing. And biggest thing was just it just all came at one time, and especially with the nuke sales, it's either it was like
Right.
they get crowded, and as soon as there's a nice day, that's when they want to swarm. Well, I got them out the door before you seen any queen cells, because I figured if I hadn't got them out that week, they would probably swarm the following week or so. Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to go into them when it's real cold like that too.
Well, I finally broke that week. I took off from work for 4 days in a row and got all that out the door.
So,
is your boss watching your videos, or does he know what you're doing?
it's a family-owned sawmill, so he don't care.
I got
Yeah, the boss knows for sure.
I got out that Monday morning. I got up. I told my brother, I said, I got to get out in this bee yard and get these bees out the door. So for 3 days, I worked in the bee yard. By the 3rd day, I was like, I don't want to see no more beehives. I am sick of them. But for me, I get kind of stressed about that kind of stuff, especially That's like I was listening to Bob there talking about putting those bees in either that Pro Nuke or the cardboard. And I had a couple boxes. A couple friends of mine got them. And one guy had to travel for a couple of hours to his house. And maybe I gave him too many bees in that box and they overheated. And some of them, as I call it, melted. They died from overheating. And I'll help him out and all and like that. But what I finally learned, I asked a friend of mine the video where it shows him unloading that tractor trailer of nukes. I asked him about it, and so I usually have 5/5 when it comes to nukes, and I overwinter in nuke hives, and so he made a suggestion, and I went ahead and did it. Where I went in on Wednesday morning, I guess it was, and of that week, I found the 2 hives. I found the queens in the 2 hives. And I made up that nuke, 3 frames of brood and food and pollen and whatever, and a 5-frame box, wooden box. And then I have from Rossman Aper a 5-frame nuke queen excluders. So I put the queen excluder on the bottom box on top of it, put the other box back on top with the queen up there. So now I've confined the queens to only those 5 frames on the top. Well, the next day is when the guy was going to pick it up. It happened to be 80-some degrees and high humidity. So he's coming at 5:30 in the evening, which is fine. Well, with doing it that way, it was less stress on me as the beekeeper. The bees are not in a cardboard box, so I wouldn't have to went out there Thursday to do that. And so that means they won't get overheated, so it's less stress on the bees. So at 5:30, we had a rain. Well, at 4:30, 5 o'clock, we had a little bit of a rainstorm. It cooled down. I went out there after 5, told him, I said, all right, I'm ready to box. And he said he'll be there in a half an hour or so. And I took all the frames out of that box, took the box down, put them in a cardboard box. And, they were only in the cardboard box for an hour or so, or let's say a half an hour, 15 minutes at my place. And then I instructed him, he was going to not put them in hive. I said, look, you got plenty of time to get them in a hive at 8. It's still daylight. Get them in the hive. Don't let them get overheated. If not, definitely pull the plug, even at nighttime. Pull that open plug on the front of that cardboard box and let them ventilate themselves.
Right, get some air.
So you got to give them air. So that's the way I'm going to do it from now on, is I will have everybody confined to the one box with a queen excluder underneath of them. And then all I have to do is I can go out there in 5 minutes. I can transfer the, 5 frames to the cardboard and I'm done. And I always like to eyeball the queen too and say, yes, there's the queen. It's in the box. Right. That's how I'm going to do it next year.
Hey, fellas, I'm gonna have to jump off here real quick and make room for somebody else. I've really enjoyed chatting with y'all and Bob.
Did you have Johnny? Did you have any questions? Did you want a question answered or something?
Oh, yeah, Charlie. Yeah, real quick, if you don't mind, sir.
Yeah.
I took your advice on. I had a 5-frame nuke. I had a 5-frame colony from a swarm I caught last June. It was a small colony, made it through winter.
Yeah.
And I tried to put it in a 10-frame box, and they wouldn't draw the other frames. But I had a feeder ring on. They started going up. I was listening to you guys on the live stream one night. You suggested for packages even to use a double stack 5-frame. I did that. They started drawing those other frames immediately. So my question is,
you put it back in the nuke, is what you said?
Yeah, I did. Well, no, I've got a double stack 5-frame, and they're doing really good. And my question is, can I put that in a 10-frame now? And then put a queen excluder and
so do you need another 10? Do you need another 10 frames drawn for a double deep?
Well, yeah, for this colony I would, but
then just keep stacking.
Okay, keep stacking 5 frames.
Go up as high as 4 or 5 frame boxes.
Okay,
because what you've done is you're manipulating them bees. You're confining them bees to only 5 frames, and they will focus on those 5 frames and draw that wax out. And of course, you're feeding them with a sugar, some 1-to-1 or a little bit lighter.
8.85 to 1.
All right. Well, anyway, they'll draw those 5 frames out, and she's going to lay them up. And then when they get that pretty much done, put another box on, and they'll move up, and they'll draw that wax out, and just keep stacking. I have it out here. It's say put 4 deep boxes on there, and you'll have 20 frames of beautiful drawn wax. I'm talking about where there's no crisscross from. There's not a spot here. It's all drawn out. It should be. They most of the time draw it out really good.
And then maybe focus on using them as a production hive next year.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is get them to draw that wax out, because as they say, wax cone is gold.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what always this is what I don't understand. All the beekeeping 101 classes and all these teachers, and I'm talking EAS master certified beekeepers and all that, they get up there and they'll say, put a 3-pound package in a 10-frame box. And then some new beekeeper will ask them, well, can I put the other deep on top? Oh, no, you're giving them too much space. Well, what did you do when you just put 3 pounds in a 10-frame box? You gave them too much space.
Right.
And and my point is this: observe when you put it in a 10-frame box. They will always be on the center frames in the box. They will always be on the 5 frames, maybe 6 frames, depending on how many bees they got. And then you're going to look over to the sides. You'll have these lazy bees, as I call them. They'll hang out over here and do nothing for the colony as a group. And then the rest of them are here working on those 5 to 6 frames to draw wax. Well, when you put them in a nuke, you force everybody to work on 5 frames. And then you just keep gradually going straight up with that. Go up to 4. You can go up to high as 5 frames. Now, that nuke, that 5-frame nuke, or that stack of nukes, it'll make you honey. I've harvested honey off of them things.
So you just do like a 5-frame deeps for your honey supers on top.
Yeah, just keep adding to that. Get them up to 4 5-frame deep boxes.
That was my next question.
And then drop them. Then reconfigure into a 10-frame box.
Awesome.
And you'll have beautiful wax, and you're going to have probably 10 frames of brood.
Well,
Michael,
I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Charlie, because listening to you guys on the live stream, I had a couple packages I picked up a couple days after I heard you say that, and I was going to put them in 10 frames. I put them in 5 frames instead, and they're doing fantastic.
I didn't invent that. I'll tell you who I learned it. And that's been 12 years ago. Michael Palmer up in Vermont.
That's what I was about to say. He calls those brood factories, and when they're in 4 over 4s. They produce a lot faster, so
it's all about It's all about beekeeping. We as beekeepers need to learn to manipulate our bees to do what we want to do. Something that I've learned last year, I had one guy talk to me I'm the president of my local club, and I had a guy out of Pennsylvania talk about single brood chamber management, and that interests me quite a bit. Had another guy that was doing it, and I did it last year, and I doubled my honey production. I went from 500 pounds of honey to 1,000 pounds of honey, and I'm not living in an area that is a big honey producer area because of the forage. And the main thing is like I was telling you, where I went through my honey eyes, I equalized the highs, meaning I went in and I looked at the brood. If you have a 10-frame box and there's 4 frames of brood and there's a lot of bees in there, I'm talking good bee coverage on top of that, You need to be in it. There's no queen cells. You need to take half that brood out of there and place it into a weaker hive, or make a nuke or something. Do something with it, because in 2 weeks they're going to get the population so big that they're going to put queen cells out and they're going to want to swarm. And I did that last year. I had 2 hives that I was rebuilding, so I had places to put the brood. And just like I say, this last Saturday, I went through 10 of them. Now, 2 of them are queenless. And I had 8 of them that I needed to pull brood out of. And I pulled like one of them. I'm running inward. So I got 20 frames, and I pulled, I think, 5 frames of brood out of just one hive. Because
Wow.
now, when I opened that hive up, come March around where I live, the maples are starting to bloom in mid to late March. And I've already got a queen excluder on and a honey super on. So I got 2 mediums, queen excluder, medium honey box. When I went in there a week or so ago, before I went to Georgia, the real production hives, the population there was a huge amount of bees up in the honey super. And I looked at the super, the frames. Of course, they're drawing wax, and they're pretty much full. They've already pulled that much honey in. And then I under-supered them and, left and came back a week later, and that's when I went in there. And they have, good amount of honey still. And I went into that hive, and they had a lot of cat brood. So when I pull brood out, I have to find that queen and isolate her. And then I pull those honey frame or brood frames out with the bees on them. And then I relocate them in a weaker hive. So I've got a couple hives that did not have that bee population up in that honey super. So I dropped 5 frames of brood in that one hive. Now, with saying that, I'm looking at that queen and I'm thinking to myself, she's a weak queen. So I'm going to have to requeen her after the honey flow. Get a fresh queen in there. But for now, maybe I can give her enough of a crutch to get me a honey crop to get through the honey flow,
Yeah, and at the same time, you're preventing the others from swarming, maybe. So
I didn't have any. Well, I won't say that. I had 2 swarms last year, one out of a 10 framer and one out of a nuke. And those 2 swarmed because of me. I fed them too much. In July and August, when we have a dearth here in Maryland, I overfed them. I learned that year that when I feed in the dearth this coming year, I will give them a gallon, make 2 gallons in one of my Tide Hop teeters, and that is it for the 10 framer. And the nuke will get about a gallon and a half. That's it. That's good for a couple months.
If you needed more comb, you'd give more though.
Well, you got to remember that when you're making, if your goal is to draw wax, now is the time when your bees are going to draw wax. If you start, there's some people say that you can feed them a lot of sugar water and they'll draw wax later on in the season. Let's say after June, let's say July, August. Around here, that doesn't really work too well. I mean, they will if they get a mind to. But right now, the spring bees, that's your nurse bees, and then that's your wax bees, and they will. I've seen it, and I use that all plastic triple wax frames, black, and I've seen them in my nukes, 5-frame deep nukes. That wax is no more than maybe the cell wall is 1/8 of an inch tall, and she's already laid an egg in that thing.
Wow.
And they have to draw the wax out to keep up with the egg growing. That's how, and that's, and that black plastic, everybody, I don't know why they put yellow plastic in hives, because you can't see the egg. Like putting having magnification glasses on. It's so easy to see. And now, Bob, did you buy direct from Nick out in California on your acorn frames?
No, I got them over at Blythewood when I was over there.
Okay.
But I bought this from Man Lake, this observation hive. It's not cheap, $200, but it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat thing if y'all haven't seen it. So it's got a front latch, like I don't know if you can see that, but the front latch is spring loaded to lock them in right there. And it comes with all these little key pins to keep all the hasp locked.
Hairpins.
If I can even get it open now because I sprayed it. All right, so and the inner it's got vents in it, right? So screen vents.
Did your demonstration yet?
No, it's on the third. So it's got one frame that goes in the top. Let me pop the whole top off here. So the bottom is pretty much just a 5-frame nuke, right? Nothing too exciting about that. But it comes with a built-in queen excluder on the inside of it. So you can put the one frame with the queen in the top. Let me drop this without falling out my chair and pulling my headset out and everything.
So it keeps her from hiding from the kids.
Right.
Yeah, good idea.
And then it's just a 5-frame nuke, basically, and it's got a screen bottom board with a piece of chloroplast in there. Of course, I guess you just bend it and pull it out because there's no slide for it. So I guess you just have to bend it to pull it out. Trying to see if I can tear it up right here live for you guys.
Well, if you could find you a frame that they just polished and got ready for the queen to lay in, then maybe she would be laying when you get them in the class.
If I could get.
It doesn't have a slot.
No, it's got a groove in it, but there's no place to slide it out, which is kind of dumb.
That's what I would think. Where are you at in Tennessee, Johnny?
I'm in the closest town is called Monterey, and it's close to I-40, about halfway between Nashville and Knoxville. I'm only about an hour from the Kentucky line. On the edge of the Cumberland Plateau, it's about just under 1,900 foot elevation at 36 degrees north latitude.
You're not far from me then.
Yeah, Houston, I've been wondering how far you're in Kentucky, right?
Yeah, I'm about half hour from Tennessee line right there.
Okay, yeah, we make it up to Del Hollow sometimes.
Yeah, from Jellicoe.
Oh, okay.
I was watching a show on television on Netflix, and they're in Corbin, Kentucky. There's a show called the Swap Shop. Have you seen it?
No.
What's that, Bob? You got cut out. I didn't hear you.
I said you're in Corbin, right?
Yeah.
So there's a show on Netflix, and part of it is done in Corbin, Kentucky. It's called Swap Shop. So I guess there's a radio show up there in Tennessee somewhere called the Swap Shop, and people go on and say, "Hey, we've got this or that we want to."
There's a lot of those on the local radio stations around here.
Want to sell, and then a bunch of people, they go out and try to get them, right?
Yeah,
we got it in Louisiana swap shops, and they sell anything from chickens to
Pickers,
candy jars, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they got here. I didn't know they made it into a TV show.
Yeah. So this is maybe a flaw with this design. So you see right there underneath, it's actually, maybe you can't, it's slotted for the piece of chloroplast right there, right? It'll go in the front. But there's no slot in the back or a way to slide it in there. So
that looks like a flaw.
I think so. So I'll just have to bend it in place. But yeah, it's a pretty neat little thing. So we'll see how the kiddos like it.
I don't see why you would need any chloroplast to begin with.
Just leave it screen bottom.
Leave it a screen bottom. I mean, you know, you're only going to use it for demos, and that's in the summertime.
Yeah,
Right.
and that way the kids could look. They could look up through the screen too, right?
And they can hear the bees buzzing.
Yeah.
You're gonna get you some Skittles.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
thing-
You're gonna do what Ian did on the finding the Skittles. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I went something different though. Hold on, I'll show you.
So,
Hey, but again, Charlie, thanks again. While I had the chance to.
Yeah, no problem.
Great advice.
I mean, I just, I like techniques, and single high brood chamber is a technique that I'm still kind of tweaking. It doubles my honey production
So
And-
with
and all that. So,
the health concerns and all the kids going and putting their hands in open candy, you know, so I was like, maybe they won't appreciate that. So I went and bought 2 things of Starburst.
Individually wrapped.
Yep. So what I'm going to make them do is the hive is going to have a bowl, and they're going to have to do the waggle dance and go get the candy and bring it back to the bowl, because then the colony shares it all right at the end. Then they can divide it up.
I like it.
Something I would do for if the bees are going to be inside that thing for a whole day, put a sponge saturated with water so they can get something
Some
to
liquid.
drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably drop that onto the bottom, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's got 2 removable sides, so it's pretty neat. I mean, I got 1 black frame in there, right? So
Yeah. Nice.
You can use that with any nuke box, right? It just don't lock on the other ones. Put it on another one.
right. I mean, I guess you could. I haven't tried it on any other ones, but it is just a 5-frame nuke box that they dressed up with some nice looking vents and stuff like that, you know.
That'd be really handy.
So
Yeah,
my
it's
thing
pretty
is,
cool.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a nuke up in there, and just put a regular lid on it, like you're talking about, and
You ought
then
to, you ought to bring you a couple of drones and clip their wings and put them in a little box to where the kids can actually
Tie a
have
string on them, let them fly around.
Yeah, let them hold the drone.
no. What you do is you get some drones that are alive, and you ask the kids, do you want to pet some bees? Because, you know, they don't have stingers, and they can actually hold the bee, you know, cup them in their hand and all that.
That's a great
And
idea.
it ain't going to get hurt them.
just do like JP the Bee Man and throw one in my mouth and
Yep.
then
Oh,
let it
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start off by doing that just to see their reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lady that was around here that, you know, she would do, you know, in school things. And she would always say, yeah, the boys wouldn't do nothing like that. But there was always a girl that would come up and would be brave enough to pick the bee, you know,
Surprise
and
them
all
all.
that stuff. And then after they seen her, then the boys would, oh, I can do that.
I can do it.
Yeah, go get it.
You didn't do anything special. I can outdo that, right?
Just make sure you keep an eye on that box and them locks, because you know you're gonna have a little Johnny in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I was thinking the same thing.
You might want to try that box
I would
out.
have done it. I would have probably done it.
Ooh.
Yeah, that takes it up probably.
I did notice one spot on the bottom that looks like it could use an extra wood staple where the screen is. So don't want any escape artist bees in the classroom. That would go bad very quickly. I can see kids running down the hallway in terror because the bees are all getting out.
Mhm.
Again, fellas, thank you so much. I've enjoyed this. I'm going to hop off and make room for somebody else. I think.
All right,
Susan-
Johnny. Good to talk to you and all.
You
Do you
too,
have
Charlie.
a
Thanks so
your
much.
own channel too?
Yeah,
your
yes,
own
sir, I do. I do, Charlie, and I appreciate you checking it out. I don't have too many videos, but I just got my GoPro
Well,
about a
once you
week ago.
starting out myself, I've
Yeah.
only started since March,
Yeah,
and
I caught a couple swarms, and I put up some videos on that. So I appreciate if you check it out if you get a chance.
yeah, all right, Tennessee Mountain Bees. I'll check that out, Johnny.
Appreciate it, Charlie. All right, hey,
All
thank you, guys.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Bye.
See you, Houston.
Yeah,
See y'all.
see, man.
So yeah, that's coming up on the 3rd, which is what?
You probably can't film that, can you, Bob? Because of the kids.
I don't know. I could probably film me.
Right, just not the kids. Yeah, I see.
Hell, the 3rd is a week from today.
It's closing in.
I need to get hot on that. I have to find my presentation from last year. She hadn't told me if I got like a computer to use or anything. Last year I did it all virtually. So we'll see. It'll be different this year. So
That's cool, man. The kids need to see it and interact. We need more beekeepers.
yeah, hopefully. I mean, you never know. I get people that come here to get honey and they're like, I want to bring my nephews out and I want to bring my kids out. And I'm like, well, bring them. But nobody ever shows up. You know, I'm like, I got extra suits. We'll put them in a suit and let them, get stung just like I do. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, get you some liability papers and have them put their
make sure they're not going to sue me if they get stung by a bee.
Exactly.
Let me see.
So it's just a formality. You got the bee suit, but just in case. That way they can't sue you, man. There's people out there that look.
Yeah, you never know. People are so sue happy nowadays. You know.
They think they can get money, they'll put it on you.
Well, they can't get any from me. I don't spend it all on bee equipment.
Make you have an auction.
Right, they make me have to auction. I'll give them the rats. They can have the rats.
How's it going with those rats?
I don't hear any more like that. We're getting in the attic. There's no activity in the attic anymore. Yeah. I found like 6 of them outside.
We have a poison that looks like a I don't know what it's called. I have to look. It looks like a corn cob, and the chemical in it makes them go look for water. And when they drink water, it reacts and kills them. And you put a pail of water out because you have to pick up all. If you have chickens, you have to pick up all your waters from the chickens and stuff like that. Because when they go to drink, their history.
Right.
And so we put a pail of water in the barn, and when I feed them that, for the next 2 days,
dead rats everywhere.
Mop up.
Yeah, what that does is it rats can't puke, so it actually eats up eats up their stomach is what it's called.
Okay.
It makes a hole in their stomach or whatever, makes them bleed. They can bleed and they bleed out internally is what they do.
Hey, Jim.
I thought it floated them, spell them up.
All right, this is what I use, Jim. Avery Sure Feed labels. Where's it at? There's the number. 22820. I ordered 5 of these from Amazon, and each one prints 80 labels. 80 labels, and I just print them on a computer.
So you design your own?
Yeah, I just use the Avery website.
Oh,
so
they have a website to make
yes,
your own?
Yeah, I can drop that. Well, I don't want to drop the one with my label in it, but I'll drop. It's app.print.avery.com.
How much is that stuff, Bob?
So, the paper? The papers ain't that bad. You get 80 labels for like, I don't know. I think I ordered them from Amazon for $11 or something. I'll tell you exactly what it cost me because I got Amazon up here. I ordered. Let me see. From Amazon, it cost me $11.20 for 80 labels. So what's that? What's that end up being? 11.20 divided by. Here, I can put a link in the chat here. Possibly. Ugh. Where's it at?
Man, where's Lee when you need him?
I know, right? Let me see. Where's it at? I just need
He's having computer problems tonight.
Yeah, his computer died on him.
He could have got on with his phone, but that's not technical enough for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm on, phone.
So 1120 divided by 80 is 14 cents a label.
Wow. That's
Now
cool.
I got to pay the ink, right? So I bought some.
Right.
I did buy some ink refill cartridges too, and they were, for my printer, they were pretty cheap. So, but let me see if I got the Avery site here. Larimore. So I used my smallest swarm. It was 2 frames. Now I have a double deep running over. What do I need to do? Add honey supers or split it. There it goes. So I used my smallest swarm. It was 2 frames. Now I have a double deep running over. What do I need to do? Yeah, you either need to split it and make room for them, or add more room, or add a honey super so they can start storing nectar away for you.
And check to see if they're making swarm cells if they're that full.
All the bees my commercial guy left behind.
Thank you is what I'd say.
Yep, that's what I would do.
Does he have a laying queen in there? Do you know?
Yeah, that's what Silver Gorilla said. Split the crap out of them if you want numbers. Split them up.
I made a split by using a double screen board.
Right.
And I was it's one of them that I have next to my garden, and I wasn't sure if they had came back yet or not, if she came back mated, but I was working in my garden and I looked and I had a gang of bees by the hole of the split. And I just happened to glance over there and I look and I see the queen. She came out of the hive and she looked like she was mated because she was swollen up pretty big. She came out of the hive, walked around the hive, and then went back in. And I said, oh, something's fixing to happen here. I thought she was fixing to just haul tail, leave with a bunch of bees, because there was at least 50, 60 bees on the outside. And then I looked, she came out again. So I grabbed my phone and I have a little video of it, the last few seconds, because I actually put down my phone. She came out of the box the third time, walked up the side of the box, and I caught her when she was on top of the box. I don't know if she was just I had never seen this before. I don't know if she was just walking around or if she was going to even maybe go on another mating flight, but I had never seen it before. But I ended up taking her and putting her in the box, and I checked the frames that she had in the box, and there were no eggs. Put her in the box, came back 2 days later, and she was laying. She had stayed in the box, but I have no idea what she was doing out of the box, because she was swollen and she was very big. So I figured she was mated, but I had never seen that before. A queen just come out of a box, go in, come out, go in. And on the third time, she went walk around the box.
Dry Cut just filmed a swarm catch, and that queen kind of done something similar on his video. Landed up on his camera and went in and come back out. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe she just came back from a mating flight and she was just
confused. Now, it could have been a queen that flew into the wrong box too.
Well, it could have been, but the bees wasn't attacking her or anything. I mean, they was even on you can even see on the outside the box they were trying to feed her. You know, they were all by her face. You know what
Right.
and they wasn't trying to hurt her whatsoever. They wasn't trying to attack her, and
She's just walking around. Maybe she had to relieve herself.
I have no idea. It's something that when I seen her come out that third time, I said, I'm going to catch this queen because she's fixing to leave me. And I caught her, look at her in a clip. And when I seen she was swollen, I said, well, she looks like she's made it. So I just put her back in the box and went back, and she was laying 2 days later.
Maybe she just had to figure it out for herself. I don't know.
I've
never seen that. Have you seen that, Charlie?
The only time I ever seen one was where I seen one coming back from a mating flight, and she landed on the side of the box, and then she went on in. You know, I recognized her. I said, "There's a queen going in, man." You know, everything.
I never got to see the first time where she came from. If she came from inside the box or she came back, because she was just on the foot of the box by the hole, and all the bees were around her, and that's what caught my attention. There was a bunch of bees there. And they wasn't like in a swarm mode like when they were flying. They were just all landed on the box around her. And she just walked back in the box. But then she came about a minute later, she came out the box and walked around again and then went back in. And the third time she came out, I caught her.
Before she could run off.
Before she can run off.
Well, you know, Black Mountain Honey actually clips all the wings on his queens, so they can't, once they're mated, they can't swarm off.
Yeah.
So
I had a nuke that I bought that had a clipped wing, and it was one of my first hives that I had gotten, and she absconded on me, but she was only like 2 feet away from the box on the ground, and they were balled up on her because she couldn't fly.
Then you catch her and put her back in the box?
Yeah, I put her back in the box, but what I found out was they were loaded with mites. The guy that I had got the nukes from, I don't know if he didn't treat or anything like that, but I called him up because I could see the mites on the bees. And I was in my first year of beekeeping. I'm not like, what are all these? And I started watching videos, and you could actually see the mites on their bellies, on their backs. I mean, they were loaded. And
you in a hive ready to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it can only buys you a bit of time.
The second nuke that I bought from him, I had bought 2 nukes in one time. The queen wasn't clipped, and they just left. So I lost both my first nukes within, I'd say, 3 weeks.
Oh, that sucks, dude. Hopefully you didn't buy any more nukes from that guy.
No.
I had that happen. I mean, I had some nukes, and I had bought for my mentor 5 the first year, but he could only give me 1. So I said, well, you know, he's just up the road from me, and just give me the rest of them next year. And so he did. He gave me 4, and out of them 4, one of those 4 absconded, and then the other 3 grew up to be nice colonies, and nice as in size, but mean as in temperament. So once they got big, I had to deal with them, but other than that, they were pretty good. I mean, it sucks when you pay money for something and you watch it fly off into the wind and can't get them back, or they just disappear one day when you come out there, right?
Yeah.
I've done that with packages several times. They just not stay in the box.
And yeah, I mean, I haven't had any packages. I've never bought a package, so I was actually was contemplating doing that this year, but I ended up getting some good deals on nukes, so I just went the nuke route again. You know,
and a lot of people knock packages, but I think they're good for what they are.
Well, you've got comb. You've got drawn comb now, so it's like basically the same thing in the package.
Right. Even if I didn't have comb, though, I mean, I would still recommend them. You know, you might have to requeen it later on, but as far as just getting started, you know, I think they're good. You know, they can be mailed right to you.
Right.
For beginning.
I think though, if people buy packages, they ought to do like what Mr. Charlie is talking about. Put them in a smaller hive. I mean,
That's what I'm going to do.
stick them in a
There was
tin
one time I got I got a 3-pound package of bees, and I told somebody I like my medium boxes, so I have deep 5-frame nukes, and I have medium 5-frame nukes, medium boxes, and I put 3 pounds of bees on 5 frames of medium foundation in that one little teeny box. And they kept saying, they won't fit in there. And I says, they sure did. And it was one of those days, it was cold and rainy. And I should have waited. I didn't want to wait and have them, locked up. And I put them in that little box and just waited. And like you say, you feed them. And within several weeks, they got the wax drawed out. And then you put another box on top. Just keep adding boxes.
I'll tell you what.
To me, I tell people 5-frame nuke is just not another beehive. It's an actual tool that you can use to do a lot of different manipulations.
Well,
Right.
I'll tell you what worked for me. I just started last year, and I doubled my my hives. I had built me some 3-frame mating nukes.
Right.
And then I take those mating nukes, and once the queen came back, mated, and laid up the first frame, I moved them into a 5-frame nuke. And then I moved because they would build out that 5-frame in no time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd take that frame and move it into my 8-frame boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And they would build out that 8-frame in a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was ready to start stacking, boxes on top.
Yeah, on top.
Yeah,
It's all about the size of the bee, the amount of bees to the relationship of the cavity.
Yeah.
And if you understand that and don't give them that much space, it works better for the beekeeper and the bees.
When I was putting a 5-frame into a 10-frame, it would take that 10-frame longer to draw out 8 frames of bees than it would a nuke into an 8-frame box.
Right.
I mean,
because the thing of it is, she had to lay up so much more worker force to be able to cover all those frames. Where when you compress them into 5 frames, she doesn't have to have the population as much to get 5 frames taken care of.
Right.
And then when you get to that point where they've got the 5 frames taken care of, and she's probably got 3 out of the 5 laid up with brood, then you can pop that other 5 frames on top, and they've got that extra workforce. They can just all move up there, fill them up with wax, and then she's right behind them, laying everything up.
yeah.
And the workforce is, people, they'll say, the queen will only lay
As much as she's got bees to cover.
that the worker force can cover and keep it warm.
Mm-hmm.
And the more worker force she has, the more brood she does, and all that, and all that kind of stuff.
The shape of the cavity seems also to have an impact. Tall and narrow seems to be easier and faster than wide.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just think of it as this way: you got a rectangular tree cavity that you can actually tear apart, put back together, and add to, and that's what they like. And Houston, where does Greg get his package bees from? I know he goes down south.
I think he gets them from not Bob Benny yet.
Dixie Bee Supply, Steven down there.
Oh, I thought he got them from Don the Fat Bee Man.
Well, that's Don's son.
Does he get them from Fat Bee Man's son or what?
Yeah, Dixie Bee Supply.
Yeah. I didn't know whether he's still full with them or not. You don't hear much about Don and Greg. I think Greg has graduated into Bob Benny class, up to the college level.
He's just growing his farm right now, and he's working on some music stuff. We got him a new farm.
Yeah, it sounded like to me he's trying to take his farm, this new farm he's got. He's expanding, and he's going to be more of a bee supplier in his community.
Right.
You know, bees and boxes, or kind of a one-stop shop, which that's great. You know.
I wish I had somebody close like that. You know.
It could be you, man.
Yeah.
That could be you.
Could be.
That's what I need. I wish I had the overhead where I could start something like that here and be able to do it, because I got to drive 30 miles each way to get any bee supplies.
That's right.
And
I
so
know
does
one
everybody
thing,
else.
Bob. If you kind of get it together, you could go across country there and get yourself some nukes and resell them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, but you don't get a good price break until you get like 400 sold. I know that.
Like my friend that gets them from Kudix,
Yeah.
He'll get 200. This year he only got 250. Usually he gets 500. But what he does, he puts out that, you know, sign up and pay your fee in advance. They're all prepaid for.
Right.
You don't buy them and then try to sell them. You more or less, you put out the ads. Hey, I'm going to sell nukes, and you know, pay for them in advance, and the arrival date will be approximately this time, you know, the year, whatever month it would be.
Right.
And then they would be delivered, and then you put out on the internet, okay, or through whatever, how the emails and stuff, and say, okay, they're
come pick them up.
Dates. You either pick them up early in the morning or you pick them up late in the evening. And you go out there. The way he runs it is, you know, he has a Man Lake cardboard box. I think Kuduk is going to transfer over to Pro Nukes.
Yeah, they had pallets and pallets of Pro Nukes. Out there when I
Well,
was
if you
there.
buy them in Pro Nuke, that'll save you money in a way.
Well,
All you have to do is go over there, tell them to push down the closure on the end in the morning. If they come in the morning between, let's say, 5 and 6 in the morning, or coming, you know, whatever time it gets sunset starts going in, and close it up in the evening. Let's say 7 to 8 o'clock at night or whatever.
Right.
Or whatever. And that's how you would do that situation. And then all you're doing is, you know, you make a little
basically going just to hold them for people to come pick them up. I mean,
yeah,
you're
making let's say you're making $30 a box, just for, you know, for talk.
Yeah,
that way.
That's what I'm hoping to do next year. By the time I talked to you and I went down there, he's like, well, we go back up to New York in May, which is like a week from now. So it's like,
well, I mean, I've boxed. I mean, Lloyd gets the wooden, and then he boxes them over into cardboard, and I've helped him transfer them boxes, and they put out some really nice nukes.
but don't they? I know they have on their website that they charge extra, like a deposit for the boxes.
I don't know what they're doing about the
Pro Nukes were like
Pro Nukes. I'm not sure. I think that's something new this year. You'll have to find out. I don't know anything about that.
So that's what I'm. You know, Blythewood Bee Company they sold like right at 200 nukes this year, and then they just shut it off and don't do anymore. But
people were looking for box. You know, you got to get your name out there, get yourself a website set up or something like that, and become a bee supplier.
And what you call it? Matter of fact, she's got my number up there, and when that guy wanted 2 nukes. She's like, yeah, sell them the nukes. And so I think she's going to start giving my number out if somebody needs, you know, a couple nukes or whatever. And then
the bottom line is this, is like myself and being I sell a certain, you know, I usually like to sell about 20 nukes a year. And that's about all I, you know, want to do on that. But, once people find out that you have nukes or whatever, or like myself, I've already been contacted a couple times here this week about queens, and I'm like, it's too cold. It's just, you know, it's too cold to be grafting in my area. And if they find out that you have nukes, you will get put me down for 2 nukes, 1 nuke, whatever,
Right.
and all that. So I mean, you can that business can take off real quick.
And
Once your name gets out there in the community, they will know.
well, that's
And
the
you got this platform here that you can put out and all that.
yeah. There's people around here. I mean, even like from this, there might be people in Georgia and North Carolina or want nukes a little bit earlier than they can get them in their area, and I might be able to get them earlier because we're further south.
That's right.
And if I have
But
to
you
make
have to you have to watch that, and they have to understand it. Like let's say if I bought a nuke out of the deep south, and here it's down there, they'll start grafting in February. Let's say early March. Well, I don't want any bees that early because it's too cold. We're still having winter up
right,
here in March, and it seems like we're still having winter in the almost to the end of April here. It seems like,
right.
and all.
What's the latest you sell your nukes in the summertime?
How much?
No, what's the latest? How
The
far along in
latest
the
is whenever they want to come and get them.
Right.
Some of them, if they want to sell, I've had some people, they'll get June nukes. I'm like, really? I said, okay, June, July, something like that. But usually, I mean, I tell them, I said, you got to have to feed the heck out of them in order to get them to survive. Or if they get like around July or August, I'll advise them. I said, you don't want to buy no bees right now. Unless they want, I said, you need to really, unless it's a whole hive that you can transport it, it's going to be, well established.
Yeah.
But as far as growing bees at that time of year around here, no, we're winter's coming down the pike real quick.
Well, now when you build your nukes, Charlie, what are you putting in them? 2 frames of brood and
You mean the cell? The cell, you mean?
Yeah. Well, when you're building your nuke, how are you building it up?
You want 3 frames of brood. And if you're going to sell a nuke, you want 3 frames of brood. You want a frame of honey or some nectar or something like that. And I always try to find a pollen frame and stick in there, or at least has some pollen on there. So you got all the bases covered.
All right. So let's say, like for me, if I'm going out to my yard and I've got a nuke that's got a laying queen and she's been laying in there, and
you're gonna pull her out and sell her.
No, I'm gonna sell that nuke. So I'll just move that to a box, but I'm gonna add an extra frame of brood out of another colony.
Okay.
I'm obviously when I go out there and evaluate, I got to see what she's got in the box already. But
right. Well, let's say she's lacking. I mean, it doesn't have to be cap. I mean, you want cap. You want all stages of brood.
Right.
So you want some larvae, you want some eggs, you want some cap brood. So if you have a frame of eggs and larvae, and then maybe 2 frames of cap brood, because those are going to be hatching soon. So that's going to keep the population up for the person who's buying.
Right.
And then you have a frame of food. So because you got a small hive there, they don't have the field force to gather food. Of course, they should be getting sugar water from the new beekeeper too. And put some pollen in there. I mean, it depends on what time of year it is.
All right, you might even know this guy, Charlie. He's in Pennsylvania, but his son is down here in the military.
Yeah.
And his son is the one I've talked to, but his dad is like he's a Hispanic guy, but his dad's over like 3 bee clubs in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but where at in Pennsylvania? It's a big state.
That's a
Is
very
it
good
Western
question.
or Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania?
I'm not sure. The guy didn't tell me. But he said his dad's coming down from Pennsylvania and going to help him get set up this weekend. So they're going to come Saturday morning and pick up the nukes. So I was thinking about going out there and doing my assessment tomorrow, going ahead and making the nuke up, and then go ahead and put them in the pro nuke that's ventilated,
Right.
and let them go ahead and get used to their new home and everything. So all I have to do is close them down Friday night. They come Saturday morning, pick their nuke up, and see you later.
Yeah.
At least
The only thing, I don't know. I don't have any experience with Pro Nukes. I mean, I'm looking at it. It's a plastic box. That plastic gets hot,
right.
and I'm wondering how that's going to work down the road.
Well, the guy was in there buying his equipment when he was talking to me about getting the nukes. So supposedly that's all going to be ready for him.
And he's
You know,
close by, right?
yeah, he's not far from me. Maybe
Yeah,
10,
so
15 minutes. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's not. I'm thinking about the nukes staying out in your apiary and getting too hot before they show up.
Right. Yeah, it was 80 something degrees today out here. So, and let me see what it's going to be this next few
Yeah, it
days.
was about 50 degrees or 40 some this morning. Got up to about 50 some during the day. Then it started raining. I don't know, about 3 o'clock. And
It's
it's supposed to get even colder.
Crap, it's supposed to rain Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But it's still supposed to be in the 80s. And tomorrow and Thursday it's going to be high 70s, like 77, 78, Friday 80 degrees. So I might text him and say, hey, you need to come get these on Friday because it's supposed to rain on Saturday. And, have him pick it up Friday evening. Might be a better bet. Well, if he don't have his equipment done, I don't know. That's not my concern. But I'll contact him tomorrow and make sure we're still on before I go ahead and build them up.
Yeah. So how many beehives you have, Cage?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know your first name, but
It's Brad.
Brad.
Right now I think I have 26.
Okay.
That's a nice number.
Yeah.
Where you plan? How many do you want to have?
Thinking about 40.
40.
Yeah.
Biggest thing is, man, my biggest question amongst all the beekeepers, especially like the commercial guys and stuff, is management and how much time and how to go through your hives in a way that doesn't, you're not spending 15 minutes per hive or whatever, half an hour or whatever, like a normal, like you're, going through them and all.
Look who's in the chat. Dirt Rooster. Another drive. Well, if he wants to drive, he can drive on and talk with us if he wants to. We'll send him the link. I sent him a picture of a dirt rooster, my dirt rooster. I had one of my roosters was taking a dust bath in the dirt. I said, look, I got a dirt rooster over here. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting to sell any nukes right now. So it just was one of those things where they needed them. And I've got bees and I'm worried about running out of equipment for late season splits. So I'm like, I'll sell you some, Well,
that's what I mostly want to get into is like having enough hives to where I can split, make nukes, and sell them. And because I'm not big into the honey, I like to do the honey, and I sell it. All the honey I get, I sell it. But I like fooling with small hives. It's just to me, it's more fun because they're not as aggressive as the big hives and stuff like that. And I can get some of the big honey hives. I had 2 last year. It's like it was miserable going in them because once they got honey on them, when you pop that top,
they're coming out.
They was coming out. You didn't go with them with just a jacket because they would sting you in the socks. If I wore black socks, they was lighting me up. So I have a full suit now, but when I had just a jacket, it wasn't no fun deal. So I had to requeen those, and it's a lot better now. But
sound like to me you had a hot hive. I mean, if it's that bad,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. People, I guess what it is that I light my smoker, but over the year, you know how it is. You light it, and then the sucker goes out on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to the point where I was, well, like you say, in the nukes and stuff like that. And you get to focusing in on that hive, and you kind of forget what's around you. And you get used to bees flying around your veil and stuff, and you don't, it doesn't bother you anymore. It's just part of the job. And every time I really, if I'm trying to get the bees to go down into the hive so I can put another box without smashing them, I'll use smoke then. But other than that, I don't really use smoke that much. I'll take my finger and kind of push them out of the way, like at the end bars, so I can, without smashing them. And I don't know. I just, like when you're looking for queens, you don't want to smoke because she'll run down and you can't find her. If you leave no smoke, most times she's up on the first or second frame. You pull out of the hive. Of course, I'm kind of pulling it out of the middle of the hive. With the bee books say you're not supposed to, but
I'm having the hardest time with those 3-frame mating nukes because I use smoke on them, finding the queens. I see eggs, there's larvae, but I cannot find the queens. Now they full of bees and there's bees on the sidewall, but the 3-framers are so narrow you can't look down in there to really see if there's a queen on the sidewall or not.
Now, did you build your own 3-frame hives?
Yeah, I built them, and I built them just a little too tight. My frames fit in there snug. I wish I'd have left more room.
Yeah, now like the hives behind me right now, I built all of them. There are 2-framers. I think if I did it all over again, I would go with 3. And I made sure that I had at least a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch slop. Because you figure your combs are going to grow a little bit with wax. So that way you can slide one over and you got plenty of space to pull that hive straight up out of there without rolling a queen or anything like that. So, them little ones back there, I don't use any smoke at all, hardly.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, like you're saying, when I used swarm cells that were already on a full frame, I had to only go with 2 frames because I already drawed out frame. It was swole out with honey at the top,
right?
And I couldn't fit 3 full-size frames in the little nuke, so I had to go with one full frame of bees with the swarm cell on it, and just put another empty frame next to it,
right?
And I went like that. Yeah. Or I got to take 2 empty frames and put on each side of the full already drawn frame and just let them draw out from the outside.
I have that happen on mine too, where they get really fat where the honey is, and then it's recessed where the brood is. So like the honey is, it's like a cavity in there, where the brood is.
It's so easy to roll a queen when you're trying to pull that first frame out of there. So a lot of them I just have 2 frames in them. And it works out really good that way because I got plenty of room.
Beehive Honey asked, did I have any more cutouts coming up? Not that I'm aware of. I just kind of was in the right place at the right time for the other ones. But yeah, the same thing. My those fat frames. And then they. Like on the plastic frame, if it's fat on the one, then they'll, look who we got. Look who we got. What drive-through you in? Randy?
It's breaking up real bad. I might have to try again.
Well, we hear you fine. Oh, well, he'll come back, the dirt rooster. But, Then the plastic frames, they'll like some spots, if the honey's real fat, they won't draw out in that area. So they have that room. So it's still kind of wonky in there sometimes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I wish I'd have built them a 1/2 inch wider. It would have made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
But that just wasn't not knowing.
Welcome back.
Well, there he is. What drive-through you in tonight?
Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yep.
what I mean. That's what I'm hearing from y'all.
We figured you was in McDonald's or Arby's or something tonight.
No, I sent Elizabeth to Wendy's.
Wendy's tonight. But you coming back from a cutout?
Yeah, I just got done with a cutout. I barely can understand you. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I'm gonna try one more time. If it don't work, I'll just listen in while I drive.
All right, we'll try again. So the Tuesdays is his cutout day, so we'll have to see what he was up to today. But the that's my thing. Like I've got those boxes that I got routed out with my mentor, and I've got the poster board, but I haven't had time to go back into to make the dividers for them. So that's what hopefully I have time to do it tomorrow and don't get called for a swarm or something like I've gotten the last few days. I think I've had two swarm calls in the last 5 days, and then trying to keep up with everything has been kind of busy, you know.
So did you actually catch the swarm, or did you video it?
Yeah, well, I videoed it. Not the first one, because by the time I got there, the bees were gone, and it was massive from the photos. But then when I got there, she said, "Oh, well, that picture was at 12:30 this afternoon," and she called me at 5, and I got there at 6:15, and they had flew off by the time I got there. The one from yesterday was more of a forced abscond because they were going through a 2-inch hole in the brick on the outside of the house, and I asked him, I said, well, what's it like on the other side? Is it dry, sheetrock, or what is it? And he says, no, it's just some paneling, should be easy to get out. Well, yeah, it would have been if there was an electrical box and plumbing pipes and a water heater right there and your washer and dryer. Oh, and by the way, you got a cabinet hanging on the wall right there too. So let's try Randy back again.
Fun times.
Yeah, it was. So I just basically ended up drilling a 3/4 hole in one side and put some honey robber in and put duct tape on it and smoked the crap out of them. And when they stopped coming out of the hole, I plugged the hole up with some steel wool, and he sent me some pictures. They are hanging on the box on the outside, but they haven't decided they wanted to go in, most of them. Can you hear us now?
Yep, I can hear you pretty good now.
All right, cool.
Hey, welcome back.
Did you so what kind of cutout did you have to do today?
It was a massive monster of a hive under a double wide mobile home.
Underneath the plastic and insulation and everything under the bottom?
Yeah.
But did you get footage?
I did. I wasn't recording it, but Yappy called me right as I was cutting into it. He said, you got to record it. And I was like, man, I got too much work to do. But he talked me into it, so I recorded
it. Did you use your new little lights?
I didn't. I was wallering around in honey the whole time. I probably pulled about 130, I'd say 120, 130 pounds of honey out of that hive.
Dang.
And we're not even in a flow yet.
Just old honey that's been in there?
No, it's most of it was this year.
Wow.
It was fresh
Okay,
stuff.
that's really high.
I got the queen right here riding with me.
There you go.
In the decapitator?
Yeah.
You got her in the guillotine over there?
Yeah.
I know that thing will cut a leg off a queen.
Yeah.
I've done it.
I wasn't even looking for her, and I had most of the hive out, and I pulled a big chunk of honeycomb out, and I'm laying on my back under there with not much room to work, but I dropped her somewhere. She fell off the comb, so I had to hurry up and clear out a bunch of stuff out from under there. So when I rolled over and sat up to move everything, I sat in a full comb of honey. So now my pants look like I had an accident, but I got the queen.
You got the queen. That's what matters. I have I went on it was supposed to be a cutout, but it ended up being a forced abscond, where I was just talking about it because I got out there, and when they called me yesterday and I went out there, they said Oh, I said, what's on the other side of the brick wall that they're in? Oh, well, it just goes into the garage and there's just some paneling there. I'm like, okay, well, I'll come out and take a look at it. I drive the 20 miles out there to them. And it turns out, yeah, there's paneling there, but you didn't tell me about the water heater and the electrical panel and the timer for the sprinkler system and, the washer and dryer right there and the stairs coming out of the garage and all the cabinet hanging on the wall. You didn't tell me any of that.
Yeah, they failed to mention all that kind of stuff. This one I just left failed to mention that this house been there for 2 or 3 years, and she already had somebody else come get a swarm off of it one time. And so I've been under there for 8 hours. I started at noon. I finished at 8.
Wow. I'll tell you what, so this guy just bought this house. The swarm landed there Sunday evening. So they've only been in there like 2 days. And so the first day I went to the outside because I really didn't want to rip all that stuff down. And because of the electrical and all that running right there. Yeah. So I went ahead and shot some honeybee gone in the outside, which forced a lot of them out. And before I left, I plugged the hole with steel wool so they couldn't go back in when the honeybee gone wore off.
Right.
And then this morning, I went to the top of the plywood where they were over the cabinets and everything. And I just took a paddle bit and drilled a 3/4 inch round hole and put a piece of duct tape on it so I could go in there and open the duct tape and fill it full of smoke and close it and honey be gone, where they would come down and go out the front.
Yeah.
So
how long have they been there?
They just landed there on Sunday afternoon. So 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They hadn't been there 2 days in there. So so all the bees came out, but there was some for the only place on the wall where there was a piece of pipe that they just did they just did a groove at the bottom. They got lazy to slide the plywood on. And so there was bees coming to the inside into the garage, but the problem was that he just bought that house. So the pest people had come through and sprayed in the garage and everywhere. So the bees that were getting into the garage were dying. But if they went out the regular entrance that they were coming in through the brick, they were fine. So I just sprayed some honeybee gone around that pipe, and the guy told me, well, there's no more coming to the inside. But I never saw a queen. She could have died from the pesticide or anything. And so I left the Pro Nuke out there with some frames in it, some Swarm Commander in it, and a bunch of.
No, I'm gonna go put these bees up and knock them in.
And
Are you?
Yeah.
There's a dog right over here that you left for me the other day.
We're eavesdropping.
It's got a lot of bees on it.
In it. Like,
I'll be.
Up and between that comb.
Okay.
Probably about 100 or more.
Okay.
So I was going to ask you, and little baby ones are hatching out in there. So you may want to check it and shake it.
All right.
Because it's at least not that many bees.
All right. I'll go put them in.
I know that's not a lot, but.
I'll go shake them in front of a nuke. That's what I'm fixing to do right now.
That'll be
in front of the table.
That'll be the next Dirt Rooster video, catching his own swarm.
I let my own fly because they don't count in the competition with Mr. Ed.
Who's winning that competition right now? Oh, did he freeze on us? Who's winning that competition right now, Randy? Uh-oh.
Froze up.
Oh, and he came back. Hold on. So you froze up and came back before we noticed you was froze.
That's how quick I am.
I said, who's winning the competition?
We're tied 4-4.
Mr. Ed will always say he's winning.
He will, except for this year. He's been busy building a house, so I thought I was going to get ahead of him, but it's been a slow swarm season, and we've got a a whole bunch of people catching swarms down here now. So,
well, it was slow here, and then all of a sudden, the last week, I got 2 calls. So
I got a question for you, Randy.
okay.
Like Bob was talking about how he forced them bees to abscond.
Uh-huh.
If they have honey in a wall, what does that do? Does it attract rodents, or have you ever run across that where people block the bees in?
Yeah. If they only been in there 2 days, they're not going to have but a little hand-sized piece of comb at most, so that ain't going to leave anything. But if you have a large established colony, you're not likely to force them to abscond. It'll take you 4 or 5 hours of smoking and everything. You'll kill all the brood in the hive with all the smoke and the bee quick or honey robber or whatever you're using before most of them will leave.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you leave in there, like this hive I just pulled, probably the whole hive was, if I had to estimate, 200 pounds, maybe 170 pounds, maybe. So you're gonna leave 170 pounds of a food source in there for roaches and mice and wax moths. Wax moths will do a lot of damage and leave a lot of feces behind. But everything else, especially down here, we've got those big tree roaches, and those are the first things to it. I mean, they're in it while you're removing it. They'll be, every time you cut combs or get bees off of combs, you'll see roaches try to come out, and the bees will run them off, and they'll try to come back and get more and more. But you're just going to leave that food source, so they're dealing with sugar ants and you name it. Whatever's in their property, is going to come after that.
I don't know if it was your video or Mr. Ed's where I seen where one of y'all had went on a cutout where someone had already killed the bees and the honey was dripping out of the wall or something.
Yeah, the small hive beetles are going to do most of the damage that you can see, because as soon as the bees are off of it, the small hive beetles get in there and start laying. And it's only a few days before there's hive beetle maggots sliming the hive, and then all that honey, any of the uncapped honey, starts to ferment and bubble out of the hive. So if you've got a hive full of a lot of uncapped honey, it'll start bubbling out and running all over the place, and then that's what you can see if it's in somebody's wall or ceiling. That's what'll run out in the carpet and it'll run in the gaps of the sheetrock and stain the ceiling, that kind of thing. But they don't eat much of it. They just do the damage and then
move on.
Later on, everything else comes in and eats it.
Well, how's your peppermint doing? Have you noticed anything?
I'm not seeing a lot of hive beetles, but the ones that are, it's hard to say because I've sold so many nukes this season that had peppermints in them, and I didn't pay much attention to them.
Were the people picking up the nukes like, what the hell's their peppermint doing in this?
No, because they eat them quick. I mean, they're gone. I haven't put peppermint in a hive yet that I've gone back and found peppermints.
I'll tell you what, putting that peppermint extract into the pollen sub that I put on.
Yeah.
This last round, I didn't see a hive beetle larva, a hive beetle, or nothing in them. They ate the whole thing.
I got to say, I'm not seeing a lot of hive beetles.
I mean, at this point, that's my thing. I don't see hive beetles, so it's like, it's got to be doing something.
Yeah, I don't want to 100% jump on board that it's got to be the peppermint, but it could just be a light year for hive beetles, is all I know. And so that's why I want to hold my judgment until I run the test a little while longer and see if they show up later in the year, because later on in the spring, early to midsummer, when some of my nukes that don't get sold that I've forgotten about get weak or get honey bound and then get weak, that's where I'll start seeing them. So if I just go around and pop my lids and throw peppermints in all those right now, and then I don't see hive beetles and anything later on, I'll be pretty certain that's what's doing it.
I asked Mr. Charlie earlier, but you being down south, what's the latest that you sell your nukes to customers?
I'll sell them as late as they want them, up to about August, but that comes with a warning that you probably should wait till spring because you're not likely to make it through winter with these bees. But some people just want them; they don't care. They want them now, and they don't care what the repercussion is. They got to have bees, and it's July or August, and I'm like, we're through the flow. We've only got a fall flow left, and our fall flow is never any good down here. So you're going to have to feed them. You're going to have to tend them. And if you don't, you're definitely going to lose them 100%. And they're like, I don't care. I've been watching bee videos, and I want bees right now. And if you don't sell them to me, I'll get them somewhere. And I'm like, I feel like a crack dealer. I'm like, if I don't sell it to them, they're going to get it somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that because I was planning on doing some splits after the honey flow, and I was going to sell some, but I didn't know how late it would be a good idea to sell any.
Yeah, I'll sell them as long as I've got them. Of course, they've got my phone number, and they're going to blow my phone up every weekend with pictures of the front of the hive. I still get that a lot from people who bought nukes 2-3 years ago. They'll send me a picture of the front of their box, and they'll say, "What do you think?" And I go, "I think it's a box of bees. You got to do an inspection. I can't tell you from a picture of the front of the box." I don't do drive-by inspections. You can't do a drive-by inspection on yours, and I don't do drive-by inspections on mine. If I see bees piled up on the front, it may be a healthy colony, and they may be bearding or washboarding or whatever, but they also may just be piled up out front because they've absconded or hive beetles have gotten in there, and they don't want to be on these slimy combs.
Right.
So front of the hive inspection doesn't do much good for anybody.
I'm selling my first 2 nukes this week.
Really?
Somebody went to I just happened to be at the bee store when the guy came there looking for nukes, and they didn't have any. I said, "Well, where do you live?" And he's close to me. I said, "Well, I'll sell you a couple nukes." And so he's coming Saturday to pick them up, right? I mean,
That sounds like a dealer.
hey, I'm a small time guy, man. I got to make the money when the money presents itself.
you got to.
So I can just make a split and replace them too. So if he's getting started, wouldn't sell them.
Well, Randy,
you never know. You were the guy. Maybe you'll be their dealer for the next few years.
I hope so.
Well, Randy, what do you put in yours? Do you put 2 frames of brood or 3?
I started them out on 3 frames of brood and 2 feed frames. And by the time my customers get them, if they don't have them in 10 frame boxes in a week, they'll be building queen cells because they're thick.
Yeah.
And some of them when they come to get them, I'll let them pick. And of course, they're going to pick the ones that are just bearding so heavy that you can't get near the box. But I let them know. I pop the lids, and I make sure they see what's going on because it'll be 4 or 5 rows of honeycomb that thick built between the top bars and the lid of these pro nukes, and that their eyes light up. They're like, "Oh, they're already producing honey." I'm like, "Yeah, you can take that as soon as you pull them out of this box. You can go ahead and scrape that off in a pan." But I'm telling you, this box is too thick right now, and you might find swarm cells. So I tell them how to deal with that, and I'm like, it's your choice. I've got some hives on the yard that are ready to go that still have a little bit of time, and they always go for the heavy ones. I don't want that one. Okay. Just know you're going to have some extra work on your hands.
So what I've got some nukes that are in 5 frame boxes that were splits earlier in the year.
Yeah.
That, they got laying queens. So I'm thinking they probably have like 2 frames that have actual brood on it that she's laid. So I'm probably just going to rob a frame of brood out of a stronger colony and put it with them to let it go. So it's my first time making them, so we'll see how it goes.
When I first make my splits, it depends on how many nukes I need. If I need to split heavy, I will. I don't put any less than 2 brood frames on a box though. Sometimes I'll put 2 brood frames and a feed frame and then 2 freshly waxed foundations. I don't rely on anybody else's wax process. I don't care if it's triple coated, whatever they want to call it. My my foundations get a good heavy wax coat, and they'll draw them out really quickly. And so I want that box to take off. I don't want to be into nuke buying season, and people are coming to pick them up, and they've only got 4 good frames in them, or haven't drawn part of a foundation because there was no wax left on it because they robbed it, moved it somewhere else.
I got a question for you there, Southern folk. God, I love saying that. Up in the tundra, boys, up in the tundra. How many of you guys actually just keep nukes around as resource hives? Yeah, I figured Charlie did. Okay, and Bob, you're doing that too? Okay. Yep. Man.
If I keep nukes around, it's just because I didn't sell them. All my bigger boxes, I don't mind robbing stuff out of them because I'm not into honey production much. So
right.
If I need something out of anything else, I don't mind tearing something down.
Yeah. Hey, Randy, didn't you have some LBG honey? Let's go, Brandon honey.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the watchword of the whole thing. That's the only honey in the United States we can absolutely guarantee is not coming from China. Randy gets that right away, of course.
That's funny.
Sorry, I've been saving that for 2 weeks.
That's funny.
Hey, I kind of half showed it on a video, and I was like, I better not show too much of that. That's gonna get a lot of hate. But what's funny? Help me out here, guys. But I swear to goodness that like 90% of the beekeepers I run into are, like constitutional, God-fearing, like Pledge of Allegiance Americans. Yeah, pretty much.
It just amazes me that that's just the way it is. And I'm not complaining. I'm happy.
I think that has something to do with our age too, though. We were kind of programmed.
Really good point, actually.
When we were kids, I mean, we had to do the Pledge of Allegiance. We had to sing "My Country 'Tis of Thee" every morning before class, right?
Yeah.
So they don't do that stuff anymore.
No.
Yeah, that too. By the way, I was going to take down the American flag in my shop and hang it behind me here just for Tuesday nights.
Hey, Ian came on last week and he had the Canadian flag behind his head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Ian was last week?
Yeah, last Tuesday.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. Oh, that's right. Time's flying. I just saw a video of his pop up here, and it looked like it was just
flooded out and everything.
The video just came out here in the last 30 minutes. And what the hell's the title on this thing? Hard Done by Looking Brood Nests. I don't know what that means.
Well, I know his last one. His last one, he was just doing a lot of cussing from all the flooding and the snow.
I was telling one of my church deacons today, I said, I've never heard this man use the F word. And it was like the whole thing. Well, all the buckets that were blowing off and then the rain going in.
Yeah, he had a warning at the front of his video about bad language.
Yes. So that'll go there. Let's see here.
I haven't seen it.
Andy, where are you, by the way?
Gulfport, Mississippi.
No. I mean, you're in your vehicle, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in my backyard.
Oh, in your backyard. Okay.
We're holding him up from getting the bees out of his truck.
Oh no.
He's got his queen in the decapitator over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a few in a nuke box with her.
Okay.
And the rest of them are getting spread out in front of some nukes on the ground.
So they just find their own home.
Yeah, so I've got a few that I made splits the other day that they don't really need the numbers, but I'm fixing to fill them up.
Right.
Wow. I was just wondering if you were making another Arby's run or something like that.
It was Wendy's tonight. It
was Wendy's. I got supper over there waiting on me. Elizabeth went and got it.
Did you get a Frosty?
I don't know. I was 40 miles from home. She called me and asked me what I want. And I didn't see y'all on here because I've been watching the Johnny Depp stuff.
Oh,
oh man. Yeah. It makes me feel very sober.
Yeah.
So how'd you like the dirt rooster picture I sent you?
The rooster in the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is a good looking rooster though, I gotta admit. That's Elvis, my resident rooster.
Oh,
He makes all the girls go crazy.
Larry Moore Farms. What's the hardest you should split an eight frame?
The hardest you should split an 8 frame?
Yeah.
It depends on if you got access to queens or not.
Right.
It depends on how heavy the 8 frame is.
Yeah. Larry Moore, how many frames of bees do you actually have in that 8?
He's saying they're busting. I think it's a he. That's what he said. He said they were busting.
I guess I missed that.
Were you saying something, Randy?
Yeah, if they have access to mated queens and are willing to do some extra work, they can split it however many ways they want to, as long as it's got some brood frames in each box.
So, Randy, I've been meaning to ask you, do you have any mating nukes? Do you run those, or you just buy queens, or?
I have some, but I don't use them.
Okay.
We used to have about 50 on fence posts at my brother's house, but we used them one season and that was it.
Okay.
The Beehive Homestead says, Randy, how many cutouts do you do a week, would you say?
Here lately, I've been doing 4 or 5.
Really?
Yeah, I did one. What's today? Tuesday. I did one yesterday. I did one today. I got another one tomorrow. Another one Thursday. Another one Friday.
Well, that might be a question that Bob would ask. Once you do the cutout, who puts everything back together?
Depends on the customer. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I leave it for them.
Okay.
Lee says I got a temp fix finally, is what he says. So we'll see if
my normal week is only about 2 to 3 a week, but here lately we've been slammed, and so I've just been knocking them out. I got a pole barn to pay for.
Right. I got to pay for my extraction equipment.
Oh yeah, you certainly do. Say, is it just me, or it seems like there have been more people catching swarms this year, or maybe it's just more YouTubers posting it? Randy, you got an opinion on that?
Swarm season has been slow down here, so but other places. I've got a friend in Georgia that has got 54 in traps this year.
Wow.
But I don't know anybody down here that's got that. I've only gotten 4, and 2, 3 of those were in equipment stacks, and 1 was an actual catch.
When they move into the equipment, that's always funny.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's the least work you'll ever have to do, right? When they move in on their own.
It is.
The swarm season has kind of been slow here, and it's just now where it's like starting to take off.
Yeah, it was late starting here, and it's been slow going. I had another beekeeper locally that usually catches a lot of swarms text me earlier today and asked me if I noticed how slow swarm season had been.
Really?
Yeah, I have. And Mr. Ed's only gotten 4 as well, I believe.
So Beehive Homestead asks, from your experience, Randy, does it work better to do them in the morning or the evening? I have 7 to do and trying to plan them better.
The cutouts?
Yeah.
Really depends. It depends on a lot of factors, but if you can finish up at sunset, you won't have your customer calling you back, telling you they got a big pile of bees hanging on their house the next day. Save you a lot of return trips. There's a few methods to combat that, but if you finish cutouts earlier in the day, you got a lot of forage bees that are going to come back after you're gone, and they will. It doesn't matter how much you explain to them that those bees can't reestablish and that they're not going to last more than a week or 2 hanging on the side of their house. They'll call you and bother you, and I'm deathly allergic to all this kind of stuff. They're not, because they already got stung 3 times while they were watching you do a cutout.
weather standing over your shoulder, right?
Yeah. So then,
Yeah, you should be
so
walking.
then you got an hour round trip to go back him up. It'll be 12 bees when you get there.
Mm.
That's my
It-
thing. Everything's been 20 miles away from me.
if it's a vacant property or something like that, or a shed on the back of somebody's property, it doesn't really matter what time of day. If it's a occupied, especially a apartment complex or anything like that, if you don't have all the bees, they're going to be calling you back probably.
Right.
Mm.
'Cause that little base tennis ball size cluster that lands back on the branch that you shook yesterday.
Yeah.
They'll call you back.
Yeah. You left some bees.
Mm.
Well, guys, I'm gonna jump off here. I got to dump some bees and get in there, and I'm sticky from head to toe, so I got to get cleaned up.
All right. Well, we
So
appreciate
take
you
care.
popping in.
Hey, I appreciate y'all let me pop in. Most people tell me to go away.
Hey, Danny, just appreciate you commenting on my tractor trailer load of bees and all on my.
Oh yeah, that was nice. That was
Now do
good
me a
video.
favor. Give us a shout out on your channel, man, so we can get some views, get some subs.
Yeah. Cajun homestead and beekeeping.
Send me emails. Email me everybody's channels.
Man, I got to do that. But to make that list is kind of. Matter of fact, everybody send me your email to my email, and then I'll just make a list off of that.
Yeah, I do that anytime I can. Like at the on the Hive Life video, I named off everybody I could figure out was there.
Yeah.
Well, you can start with me.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a good evening.
All right, thanks, appreciate you.
Hey, yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's always nice when he stops in. He stops in pretty regular too. Like every couple of weeks, he usually pops in here for a few minutes.
Yeah,
he seems like a very nice fella.
He is.
Oh, and I've never met him face to face, right? He's only been on here. It's the only time I've talked to him. And I mean, I was joking at him and stuff right from the beginning, like didn't hold any punches, and he keeps coming back. So, that's always good.
I met him at Hive Life. He's a very nice guy. Just he's just like any of us here, just a beekeeper.
Yep. When he came on with Mr. Ed, he says, "Hopefully, I'm not taking somebody's spot." I said, "No, you're taking two people's spots," and he thought it was funny. Hey, look who we got finally. Better late than never, sir. Better late than never.
Hey, welcome back.
It's the general.
Hey,
and we're about to go to bed.
Mm.
Yeah, this is usually when he's like, "I gotta go, guys, because I gotta get up tomorrow."
Yeah.
Oh man, it has been a heck of an evening.
Lee, you could have done it on your phone. You could have joined the group on your phone.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was sitting here with it playing in the background, but I was having emergency issues with this computer. I got files on it that I can't lose that ain't backed up to another drive. So I've been having to go through manually at a DOS prompt and backing everything up individually.
Did you finally get that computer going?
Huh?
Did you finally get that computer going, or is this a different computer?
This is a different one. The other one, hard drive's gone. It will not load a boot file. So I'm having to go in manually and pull everything out.
Do you have a RAID backup system?
Nope.
It was a laptop that he was using.
Right. What the heck is it? You guys are, well, Lee definitely knows about this, but I have all my customers switch back up everything on iDrive. Then I don't have to deal with it.
That's what I back up mine on.
Yeah, I got one of those. I got another 500 gig Samsung or something. Then I got a 4 terabyte drive, but I had a couple little things on the computer that wouldn't backed up. Mainly just like my YouTube videos that I've been working on. Once I finished working on them, then I back them up to another drive, but I hadn't done it yet.
And OneDrive, you don't use OneDrive at all?
Nah.
Google OneDrive or whatever it's called?
Nope.
Yeah, OneDrive is the Microsoft thing, and I use the iDrive, which is completely off-site. Yeah, I see that, Cajun. Those
Yeah.
work too. By the way, I had an appraiser out in Maryland, Charlie, and I could not get this guy to back up his system. And finally, his house got hit by lightning, and it traveled into his office, fried everything there. And coincidentally, about a month before that occasion, I had him take his external backup drive. I said, put it underneath the seat of your car. So at least I know if your house blows up, I still have everything there. And just by coincidence, he had the lightning. So
Well, I like this thing right here because it has the connector to where you can hook your phone and to your
it's
computer.
got the
Oh, okay.
That's the iPhone for an iPhone, right?
Yeah, for an iPhone.
There you
So
go.
when I do any videos or anything like that with my phone or thumbnails and stuff like that, I just download right from my phone to this and just
Yeah.
hook it up to my computer.
Nice.
Yeah. That's
And
the iDrive
they actually hold a lot. It's 2 TIG.
Really?
what? Say
Yeah.
again?
2 terabyte?
Yeah.
What did
Wow.
that cost you?
They were $64.
Man,
That's
I
not
don't
bad.
pay attention to price.
Ain't
That's
bad at all.
that's pretty crazy. Wow.
So Lee, so what's your plan? You got to replace that hard drive now in the
Uh,
laptop?
Pretty much. I can either replace the hard drive or just replace the computer, which is more likely what I'll do. I mean, it's a 9-year-old laptop.
It's about time then.
Yeah. I got all my servers still in a rack next door, but if I put them in here then try to do it live, you wouldn't ever be able to hear me talk.
So now you'll replace this laptop and you'll be like, why didn't I do this years ago?
Yep. It's been needing to be done. I've been so busy doing everything else.
He still has Pac-Man on that laptop.
I never really could get into the game stuff.
Yeah, Donkey Kong, Frogger, what have you.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Charlie, I just found your channel here. I finally looked it up. I'm looking at a video thumbnail here of 1,200 nukes arriving at my friend's house.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. 1,200 nukes?
Yeah, I was on a tractor and trailer. That actually is where Bob got his nuke or his
Queens from.
down in Manning, South Carolina.
Wow.
You know the weird part about that is I had to have you from Maryland tell me that they were here an hour from me because their website shows they're in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So had I not found that out from you, I would have just been like, they're in New York. I don't want to order from there.
Well, in that tractor and trailer, we took off, I think Lloyd got 250 of them. And then they left there and they went to Greenwich, New York, which they unloaded the
Better
other
be.
that better be. And then they loaded so many off of there, I guess. And then they went off to another location in New York State and for the remainder balance of them. And all. But they're really nice nukes, I'll have to say. So yeah, I happened to be I called up and they hadn't came yet, so I went up there and got my gear and I filmed it. And all. It was cold that day.
I need to put out more content or Black Mountain Honey's going to beat me again for another month in a row.
What's that? With that person that what do you call it? What's that group? That person that takes and analyzes everybody.
Castle Grounds Apiary.
I guess.
And matter of fact, I didn't think, but Black Mountain Honey watched it because he's like, he actually mentioned. He says, "Yeah, hey Walker B Ranch, you're trying to outdo me on YouTube," and I said, "Well, not really. I didn't even think about it, but since he mentioned it, now I'm thinking about it. But but I wasn't before that. I was just putting out as much content.
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I've been on YouTube. I guess this will be my 8th week, or 2 months. I have hit 100 subs. So I think that's pretty good for 8 weeks.
Oh, yeah, it's not bad at all.
Good.
I don't know where I'm at right now.
Charlie, what's the rig, the red forklift thing that you're using to pull the pallets off with?
That's a Hummer-Bee.
It is a Hummer-Bee. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
how old is that one?
Honda Bee is a 4-wheel drive forklift. It articulates, and in that video, it'll show the mechanism coming down to hold the nuke boxes, and so they don't teeter. It's designed.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Okay.
It's designed to hold 4 production hives on a pallet from
Okay.
falling off in a rough terrain.
Okay.
He uses it going down a little bit of a hill there next to his barn.
Okay.
So
yeah, I saw a comparison done of some commercial beekeeper in South Dakota between the bee and then I want to say, I can't remember what it was. If it was
probably
like
a skid loader.
Well, I can't remember
Like a
what model
Bobcat or
Bobcat it
something.
was. It was the one they made dedicated for bees.
Well,
And,
there's a Bobcat that's got like a 5th wheel on the back, and I found out I was
That's
always
what it
wondering
was.
what that 5th wheel was, and actually it's hydraulically you can. And say you know how a Bobcat will like teeter totter. You're going, you hit a bad.
Right.
Well, that back wheel will hydraulically go down to the back. They tell me, and it keeps it from bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, I guess to install a 5th wheel in the back of the Bobcat is about $15,000, and I really like that feature. But he was talking about the materials used in the 2 and whatnot, and it's I'll take a Bobcat for anything else, but man, I do like the access of getting in and out of the bee. I mean, it just looks like it's so much easier than crawling up and then crawling down into a Bobcat. I don't have any reference point, but that looks like a happy vehicle. And that, like you said, that clamp that comes down and holds everything in place, that's pretty slick.
Yeah.
I like that.
I bet you it's not cheap.
He said what the prices were. He did about an hour comparison of the things. He went down to even the crimping metal connections. And
I think new ones are like 50-some thousand.
yeah. And I was shocked at how many he was running. It was just, it sounded like they had like about, I don't know, 6 or 8 of the things. And yeah, I do like the visibility a lot in the bee more than the Bobcat.
Yeah, I don't like Bob. I mean, even like on a farm, when you're using just buckets and stuff.
Yeah.
You've got to crawl over top the bucket to get in the darn thing, and I'm not small. And then you got that bar that comes over your head, across your stomach, and I'm like, I give me a tractor with a front end loader on it, and I'm much more happier.
Charlie, I actually got a call 48 hours ago from my older friend that's running these things. He said, I'm stuck in the Bobcat. And I get out there, and here he's standing up on the fork. He just can't get down from it. He's having trouble with his knees. Mm-hmm. And I looked at that, and we're taking a grinder to the pallet loader, not the bucket, and just grinding out the center so it's easier for him just to walk up into. So I completely understand what you're saying there. He's not a small guy. Wait, 6'8".
Right. So. Well, that was like I watched a content creator, Sandy Brock. She's out in Canada someplace. Anyway, she's got a sheep farm. Well, I didn't see this. I was a subscriber for a while there. Anyway, it made mention that she had a Bobcat, normal Bobcat, and now she has one of them Bobcat telehandlers with a boom that goes in and out.
Oh.
And she broke her leg several years ago on a regular Bobcat slipping in, being a cold, probably snowy day. So they traded that Bobcat off for a Bobcat telehandler where it's got that boom that'll telescope out and in. And all you have to do with that, you're sitting on sort of on the side of the machine, and you just, open the door up and, and climb in.
Oh, yeah. We've got something like that. It's the thing will go in any direction you want, sideways and whatnot. And yeah, you're sitting on the side. To bring it back to beekeeping, gentlemen, Vince has got one of these stand behind forklifts that if you had just it would be impossible to move from one yard to another. But boy, I tell you what, if you wanted to just if you had to move just a crap load of pallets and in the yard from one place to another, and it was made. I want to say it was made in the late '60s, early '70s. I was going to shoot a video of that because you could, very easily pull the engine on that thing and just go straight high electric on it. But those Bobcats, guys, if you're ever looking at getting something like that, if you've never used them, man, there's more nooks and crannies to catch your leg and break it. If you're a young man, God bless. It's a great thing to do. So just kind of out there. So, Kate, I think I saw your wife come in maybe about 30 minutes ago and deliver you a little bit of food or something.
Is Brad still there?
Brad, can you hear?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I thought I saw your wife bring you a tray of food there a little bit earlier.
Oh, no, she was just telling me she was going to bed.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, apologies to the wife.
Yeah.
That's just grand. So what else going on with you guys for this week? What's the agenda here?
Film videos, make nukes, and catch any swarms if I get called. That's kind of where I'm at now. Just
I haven't
buy
seen any.
a new computer so I can edit videos.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen any videos from Lee lately.
I was going to say that.
So busy. Yep. I went to all the bee yards the other day and I brought the camera with me. I just forgot to take it out of the truck. Didn't really have time.
You'll get to it.
I'm going to have to tighten up.
Hey, Lee, are you going to get a laptop, a new one? Or
most likely a desktop.
Okay.
I'm trying to go either tomorrow or the next day and just see what they have local, something to get me by real quick until I get something else good. If it's $400 or $500,
sound like me.
Get me through the next couple of weeks, I'll be happy.
$400 or $500.
Yeah, just something little cheap thing just to get me through until I can order all my parts and get something good.
What are you going to build it yourself, or are you going to get like Dell or what?
Oh no, Dell. I don't. Dell ain't a bad computer, but all their hardware is proprietary plugs on them for the most part. It ain't like I can just run down to the local shop, buy a new hard drive or different things and plug into it. They're
Sarah's
almost
happy
like
eyes.
Apple.
Good night there, Sarah. I know it's not Sarah, but
I'm seeing this video right now on the other channel, or my other computer over here.
Yeah.
He had a swarm. He took a stick with a white cloth on it and waved it at the swarm, and they all landed on the white cloth. I've never seen that before. You guys ever seen that?
No. No.
Did he have anything on it, Swarm Commander or anything?
Oh, someone just said, "Why the white cloth?" He said, "I have a lure on it." So
okay.
He said, and then someone said, "What kind of lure?" And he didn't explain. Probably lemongrass oil or either Swarm Commander or something on there.
And Brad, how about you? What are you doing this week?
I'm gonna try to just go through the bees and see what needs to be put a super on and stuff like that.
And Charlie,
I got to go through my nukes, and I went through them. I guess it was yesterday before this rain hit, and just got I had put in some cage queens and got the cages and stuff out of there, and kind of go through them, see what's going on, and see what I need to do. I know I owe a friend of mine a nuke, so I need to get that taken care of here pretty soon. And that probably won't happen until Saturday, because they say the weather will finally get up to about 65 then, if it's decent weather. And
hey, Charlie, can I ask you something about your mating nukes?
Yeah.
If you have a queen that doesn't come back, how long do you have before those bees actually try to go laying worker?
I think probably a week or two. That's about it. They'll a couple weeks, I guess. They'll go laying worker, but I would try to. The main thing with that is get yourself some cat brood, and put in that hive, because what happens is there's a pheromone that cat brood puts off, and they'll think that there's a queen there because of that.
Okay.
And that'll kind of stay off that, get them from not doing that.
Yeah,
And
because
because
Is
go
it
ahead.
the cap brood that has the pheromones or the larva? I was thought it was
Well, it's
the
a
larva.
larva. It's but the cap brood will put out that smell.
It will. Okay.
Like if
Okay.
like the Clemens method of like queen rearing, where you can, let's say you set up a nuke that's queenless. You can have that nuke queenless for the whole summer, as long as you put in cat brood every 7 days or so,
to
and
keep them going.
and keep them going. But it has that pheromone in there that they think there's a laying queen there someplace. And of course,
Okay.
now you're putting in queen cell cups, for them to draw cocoons out of. And
Well, my monster colony has been queenless since January, and it just this past week had a laying queen that came back, and that's all I did was keep adding
brood.
And yeah, and I finally told myself if they don't queen themselves this time, they're getting merged. I wasn't putting any more resources in it.
Yeah.
And finally, all of a sudden, boom, laying queen.
Yeah, but that's the thing. As long as you keep putting brood in there, they won't go laying worker on you.
Yeah, I was wondering because I had 10 of them that I did, and 3 of them didn't come back. And I was going to go ahead and maybe try to graft some and put the cells in there, but I didn't know how long I had before they would actually go lay
Yeah,
worker.
I mean, just as long as you've got put some brood in there, and I'll give you that time, and then go ahead and graft, and then put that bar in there, and they'll go after it.
Yeah.
And then now some people put pollen patties in, but something I do, and a friend of mine kind of put me on to it, is get yourself some pollen sub powder, like from Man Lake, and take a soup can of that, put it in a jar or whatever. Well, not a jar, but I always use like a Tupperware thing, like a pint Tupperware container, and then add just enough sugar water, and I use a hand mixer, with the 2 beaters on it. Just put 1 beater on there. If you can find one at a thrift shop, for $2, buy it, and go in there and keep mixing that. You can do it with your spoon, but it's just more efficient with that mixer, to where it's like thick pancake batter. Yeah, it'll flow off, but once it hits something, it kind of just sits there. It won't ooze down over the frames. And I drizzle that across the tops of the frames where my where that cell cups are, where they're going to make a queen cell.
No kidding.
And then bees will line up there and suck that down and make that royal jelly. And you want them to slam that thing full of royal jelly, and they'll do that even better than a pollen patty. Now I'll do that 2 or 3 days in a row. Go out there every evening and give it to them, because they'll eat that up in 24 hours. It's gone.
Yeah.
And all. And it's a good way of getting them to produce that jelly and all.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It does well. A friend of mine, he showed me it. He just put a video out, and he had a caulk gun, the one where you squeeze, and
Get out of here.
And I says, he says he fills his tubes up with this pollen slurry. And I said, where do you get empty tubes at? Well, of course, Amazon. I'm like, I've never seen it, but you can buy empty tubes. He fills them up with a slurry, and he'll take and basically make a bead of caulk with pollen slurry down the tops of the frames. And it'll do, I think, 20 highs, 1 tube will. Then he refills it and all. And it's a pretty good idea.
I know they use, they have one that they use for baking that's just like a caulk gun, where you can shoot icing out of the end of it.
Yeah, we use it for making spritz cookies in the winter here. It's a Norwegian thing, but I was thinking along your same venue there, Charlie. I guess we could use pastry bags with the right.
Yeah, you can do that same thing. Now, what I normally do is I get that hand mixer, and it was something my mother had. It was what was the plastic stuff? Tupperware parties.
Yeah.
And there was those pint containers that were 4 or 5 inches square, and they kind of tapered down slightly.
Yeah, and they had the push-in cover.
Yeah, the little square pot, where you thing. Well, anyway, I put the powder in there, and I keep adding sugar water, or actually some Pro Sweet that I had, which is like honey, and I just keep mixing it to where, it sort of drizzles off that beater, not real soupy, but just kind of thick. And I said, okay. Then I go out there with a fork, actually, table fork, and give me a big scoop of it, and it'll have a big glob on the fork, and I'll just go right across. I'll go across and across the end bars, and then back up the other one, and it'll kind of make about I don't know, a 1/4 inch of goo on top of those bars, and then bees will line up like a bunch of pigs and just suck it down.
It's right there. No,
it's right there. Well, the thing of it is, it's more liquefied. It's sugar, and it's got the pollen sub. Whereas the patty, they got to sit there and chew it. Where this here, they can suck it in easier and consume it faster.
Come on.
And then I think it produces a lot more jelly. Now, what I've done is I've had an instance where I put it in my incubator, and a couple of them have escaped. You might say, they hatched before they were supposed to.
Yeah.
So then I took their cups, and I want something that Michael Palmer always said. You want the key to a great queen is having more jelly than what they need as far as after they hatch. So I went in there and tore that cell down and looked at the end of that JZBZ cup, and there was just a small spot of jelly still left in the top end of that cup. So they had more than what they needed.
Yeah, I've heard that. Where if they leave a little jelly in there, then you've had enough. You should have a good queen.
Should have a good queen. Right. And then I put now my incubator, I haven't really done any videoing of that yet, but if you watch my videos of the hot box, it's a normal refrigerator. Down in the bottom is your refrigerator, and up top is your is where the ice is, the freezer is.
Mm-hmm.
And I take all them shelves and stuff out of there. And that's my incubator. I put a heat lamp in there with a Inco or whatever it's called, thermostat device that I show about the hot box, and set it at 93 plus or minus a degree. And I have a little medium box in there that I put in a frame, the frame with cells on it, and they'll be capped. And they'll cap those cells on day 6. I put them in there, and they stay in there. I think it's for 5 days. And then I put them in my 2-frame mating boxes behind me. That gives me about a day and a half of variation, depending on time. And then they'll hatch. Leave them in those boxes right there for 2 weeks. Then I'll come back and see whether or not they're starting to lay any eggs. 3 weeks for sure.
Do you have much trouble of the bees wanting to chew out the sides of the cells if they're in there?
No, you'll have that problem if there's a hive and they've made a queen cell themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they say to themselves, "We don't need that queen cell. We got our own, and they're related to us. That cell isn't, so we're going to kill that cell." So you need to make sure that there's no voluntary queen cells in there when you put your cell in there, and then they won't do that. I bought a bag of cell protectors. That was a waste of money as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, now why was that, Charlie? I've really wondered about that.
What's that?
Why the cell protectors work and why they don't.
I never really seen. What I was trying to do was protect the side of the cell. I wanted them to not be able to tear down the cell. So I knew when I went back that queen had hatched naturally. And I found that even with the queen protector, they went in there and cleaned that darn cocoon out of there. They didn't want it. And I don't know. I just put that JZB. I go in there, I pull that frame apart, those two frames apart, and that's what the idea of that round disc on that JZB cup is. You're supposed to be able to push that into the wax, or you can also put it between two frames and it supports it on either side of the frame, and she'll come out. I normally just put it in one of the side of one of the frames. And and the bees will attach that cell like a normal cell with wax, and then she'll catch in a couple of days. That's what I found.
I was looking at picking some of those up, and it occurred to me I could just take some aluminum foil and wrap it on there too. And I don't have a need for it, but.
I got them, and I'm like, that was a waste of money. That was at $10
sorry to hear that.
in my pocket.
Wow. Say, Brad, have you ever seen I think it's Mike, speaking of Mike Palmer, Charlie, he gets the pollen traps, and then he'll actually take an empty brood frame.
Yeah, put the pollen in it.
Yeah, I just compress it down in there so they're getting the raw pollen in there. That's
I've seen them lay the frame on the side, shake the pollen in, and then kind of shake the frame, and they'll settle down into the cells.
Yeah. Thank you, Lee. Thank you. Yeah.
I have a natural pollen frame next to the cells and nectar on the other side. You don't want capped honey, you want nectar. And I couldn't get out there because of something with work or whatever it was to put the pollen slurry in. Okay. And I didn't put any pollen patty in. If he has time, could he do a video on feeding like he was talking about?
Yeah, with the slurry.
Talking about your dry pollen slurry.
Well, I'll do a video when I get the graft in here hopefully here in a week or two. I'll do it. I've never thought about doing that, but I'll do a video on making that slurry up. I use Man Lake, so what's it called? Ultra B.
Oh, the Ultra B, yeah.
I use Ultra B, and I use the Pro Sweet, which is like a real thick. I buy by the 50 pounds, and what I do is I take that bag and I'll have 5-gallon buckets, and I will dump it into the 5-gallon buckets because the darn mice will get into it.
Yeah, I really like that caulk gun thing.
I thought about getting that, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, that's with the caulk gun tubes. Yeah, that's what they are. They're caulk gun tubes. Is all I know. They're empty tubes.
I have pastry bags here in pipettes, so I think I'll probably go that direction there.
Well, I thought about the caulk gun here recently, after I've seen it here, and I'm like, well, then you got to fill that thing, and how messy is that?
Well, Charlie, that's why I'm thinking the pastry bag.
And I said, well, I've been doing good with that little pint Tupperware jar, and all I do is kind of tilt it over and, get it. It's like getting spaghetti on the end of your fork. You kind of wind it up.
Yeah. Right.
Glob, and you get a thing where you just go across that thing at a steady pace, and it oozes right along. And I'm like,
oh, that's clever.
Hey guys,
works for me.
You guys want to see this this cutout that Randy did today? He sent me some pictures.
Yeah. Whoa.
That's a big one.
Ancient ocean bottom.
He sent me a bunch of pictures, so let me.
Wow.
All right, let me see. I don't know how many times it dings. So that was the first one he sent. Then that was the second one. And third one.
That's a massive hive.
No, that's the dirt rooster I sent him the other day.
That's a good-looking rooster too.
That's Elvis.
Elvis.
He makes all the girls go crazy in the yard.
So I wonder how many queen cells he ran into in a hive that big.
I don't know. He said he found the queen. That's massive. How much? I mean, how many bees do you think that is? How many pounds of bees? That's a lot. He said, what did he say? How much honey did he say you got out of there?
100 and something pounds.
Man. And all that wax.
Right? That's
just amazing.
That's incredible what they can do.
Mm.
All right. So I'll stop sharing that, but that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's also why a horizontal hive works too. They like drawing to the side also.
Yeah. Yeah. Say, Brad, what do you use for foundation?
Plastic.
Any particular?
I got him on the ship now. The free.
I was using the ones from Man Lake, and I had to wax them myself because they never had enough wax on them.
Yeah, Lee does that too, and so do I. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that even from Better Bee, even when you click extra wax on the option, it still don't seem like enough wax on it.
But I got them ones from Bob, and they drawn it out just fine. I didn't put a drop on them, and they seem to be doing good.
Was that acorn?
Yeah, the acorn. Yeah,
that's what I buy.
So Lisa here is the one who sold me Porky. So Porky is not as a mini pig as I thought she was going to be. she when she wants out of her pen, she just basically lifts the whole gate off of the thing and comes out.
She's a little plow.
Yeah, but she's doing good. She's healthy. I actually would like to get another one. So if you have another one, let me know, and I'll come down and pick her up or pick him up. Then I'll have baconlets in the yard. But yeah, she's doing good. I put her on a lot of my videos.
Man.
So, you say you were buying your acorn from up there at that bee supply company?
Yeah, I was getting them from Blythewood. But Sawmill Charlie's buys them directly from Acorn.
Yeah, all you got to do is go to Acorn's website, and you can click in, and all that. And
I think that's where I ordered mine from.
There's yes, there are shipping costs. But how much are you, like $2 a frame or so? Or
I think it ended up being like $2.25 a frame. And they're out of the mediums now, but they still have some deeps.
Yeah, well now see, when I buy, it's like I just bought some, but I bought like 3 cases of mediums and 3 cases of deeps. So there is a price break in on how much you buy. And if it's he does have a website now. You can go in there and click and check out the prices and stuff like that.
What about the while I was searching, I saw what about the Purico? Do y'all have any?
There in my area, there's a bunch of folks that everything's about Purico, and they have free shipping. Well, then if you sit there and price compare, the shipping's built into the price of the frames. Is what?
Okay.
That's what you'll find, that they want $2.40 a frame or something like that if you buy a case. And I forget what my stuff was. I calculated it out. It was like two something.
Yeah, we did that one night. It was you were a little bit cheaper than mine buying them.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was now, but I calculated, it was like a couple $100 in shipping. But everybody, the shipping is going to be a little different because
Are they basically the same type of frame as an Acorn?
Yeah, they're basically the same. They, as far as I know, the Pureco and the Acorn.
Yeah,
And
I guess.
And I know Bruce's Bees has been using the Pureco frames like the Acorn until this year. Now he's starting to go to that new one that they're all talking about, Premier. But Premier doesn't make a plastic frame. They only make the plastic insertable foundation.
Yeah, I asked him about that. A highlight. You get plastic frames? No. I said, all right, fine, bye.
Well, yeah,
the neat thing about that frame or that foundation is that whatever wax they put on there, it just smells really good.
Yes, the wax on the Acorn smells good too.
Yeah, and Lee, I have taken taken that and over waxed it also. I'm not certain if it was quite as necessary, but I wanted to do a comparison in a brood box with the Acorn, and Premier and just do mix out. I did run into one where a guy who has no idea what the hell he's doing, but he took the Premier and then he checkerboarded with something else, a major one, and I don't know how much wax was on it, but they definitely preferred the Premier. But again, I don't know how much wax was being done on it or any of that kind of stuff. Say, by the way, guys, have you ever DC asked a question? I think it's the permacomb. Have you guys ever seen that stuff? It's actually all solid plastic comb.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I don't think it's well received.
Yeah, I know that the doggone bees will take to it really quick, but it's also heavy. So you're adding like for a honey super, you're adding like another 4 or 5 pounds to the super, because they do make the medium frames also. Permanent, yeah. I looked at that DC and I really spent some time digging into it, and I think it's absolutely fascinating. I do. In fact, something that's driven me nuts about all these foundations is that I'd like to see them drawn out a little bit more, even like a 1/16 of an inch more, just to give the bees a little bit of a more of a boost in there. And I know it costs more for the plastic, but and how much more efficient it would be to do that, I have no idea.
But it doesn't cost more for the plastic, really. I mean, if you're using, with that being said, if you're using plastic inserts, right? If you're already using the inserts, then it's actually cheaper to buy plastic frames because you got to buy the wooden frame and the plastic insert. But where I find, actually, I think my bees actually draw out foundationless with just with just fishing line in it faster than they do the plastic because they can festoon and work both sides at the same time.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine up here in Pennsylvania that he has went foundationless, and he says the same thing.
But it's more work because you buy the frame or you assemble the frame, then you got to string them all with fishing line, which takes quite a while to do.
I find just rolling the wax on mine, I put it in there, they'll take right to it and draw it out in no time.
Yeah.
Well, those new nukes that I got, I just put the Acorn frame in there. And now, granted, they were jammed in that 5-frame box. So they were drawing out wax like it was like they were a swarm or something to make more room for the queen. I mean, they were really.
But that's the power of the nuke. That's the secret about that 5 frames.
Well, speaking of which, I still don't. I'm going to do this a lot this year. I'm going to use my resource hives, and I'm just going to keep throwing foundation in there, let them draw it out, and use it as a draw for for other hives.
That's right.
And
that was
actually,
like the Tennessee bee guy here. He found that it's better off to put those bees in a 5-frame box. And I told him, if you need 20 frames, stack 4 boxes right straight up.
Yeah.
And now I will have to say, if you got 4 boxes up there, make sure that you put a ratchet strap on that hive so it doesn't fall over.
I haven't done any cut comb myself.
I have thought about doing the cut comb, but now is that talking about comb honey in a box? You mean?
I buy the cut
Yeah.
comb foundation from Better Be. It's real thin,
Yeah.
and they draw it out fast.
Do they? Okay, that might be the direction I go there, and then use the cookie cutter square just to cut them out. Because otherwise,
I just use a regular, serrated like bread knife.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that, Lee. Because I think I'm actually going to do some of that the beeswax starter strip foundation in the jars and do some jarred, cut comb too.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna do the jar honey like that, like you said, where the bees draw out the honeycomb in the jar in my
the
horizontal.
warning I got about that is that you want to sell it right away, because when it starts to crystallize in it,
you can't.
You don't have any way to really warm it up, and so on. So, but yeah, thanks a lot for holding that frame up, Lee. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I get those foundations from Better Be, and I mean it's far cut comb honey.
So years ago in Minnesota, close to the Wisconsin border, there's this huge apple orchard there, and they would sell their cut comb, but they all made pre-made wooden boxes, wooden frame boxes, and I have no idea how they got them in the hive, but I think they actually had, like, I'm guessing, foundations where these boxes were tacked in there, and
now you're talking about the boxes they sold them in, like they have.
Yeah, but these, the thing, Charlie, is that sorry, I think that these wooden boxes actually had the wax attached to them.
Yeah, but they are when you have regular combed honey in a square plastic box like today. Yeah. They actually made wooden boxes that did the same thing. They were out of basswood.
Oh, yeah. And my memory is probably foggy on this because it was we're like 8, 9 years old. But I want to say that doggone wax was attached to that wooden box.
I think
What's
either Daydan or Kelly, of course, I don't know about now with Kelly, but you could still buy those boxes.
The basswood boxes?
Yeah, they came in a strip and they're crimped or something. I think you have to wet them so the fibers will bend and you can actually make out of a wooden box.
Interesting.
And all. And there was some. I've seen some. What do you call it?
What's the plastic ones called? The square plastic boxes.
They're just there's hog half.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, the hog half.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, what they don't tell you is you have to be on a super flow with a lot of bees for them to go in there and pull all that wax out and fill it, because you're not going to get everyone. You're not going to get 109 or 90 some percent and all. And then another thing is that when you do combed honey, as in, not chunk honey, but comb honey, you have to put that through a freezer process to kill any parasites, like wax moth eggs and things like that, before you can sell it. You have to put it through a freezer so many hours, let's say 48 hours or 36 hours in a freezer, so it kills all those wax moths, larvae.
But then you would have to take it out and put it in a warmer.
Yeah. It's a lot of work to it. How about, is that how you do it, Lee?
I put it in the freezer overnight, and then I took it back out and let it come to room temperature. I mean, it didn't crystallize as fast, just overnight like that, but it will kill any eggs that are in it. And then I put it in the jar and put the fresh honey over it.
Now, like what Lee's doing there, he's got that frame. I guess the frame is
It's a wedge.
It's a shallow frame in it.
No, it's medium.
Medium. Then you're going to have a little bit of stuff left over, like a little strip of honey or comb. So what you do with that extra stuff, you throw that in one of them jars, and you have chunk honey. You pour it with liquid, put that strip that's left over in there. Now you sell a jar of honey with chunk honey. They call that chunk honey. Honey, you know.
Oh, that's what you call it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a different terminology. There's combed honey, which is in a square package,
Yeah.
and that, or let's say Ross Rounds is combed honey, and then you have you buy the glass round jars. I guess they are pints or whatever. And if you take a comb and you slice it into let's say it's a 2-inch wide strip.
Yep.
The length of that, the height of whatever that jar is, you put that comb in there. There you go, right there, and then you pour it full of liquid honey. Now you call that chunk honey.
That's how I did mine. I didn't do the regular squares. I would put the
you're selling chunk honey.
Yeah.
And people,
bunch of them just, I mean,
people think that's the greatest thing and all.
Hog half comb system with the super and is $127 roughly.
Yeah, it's an expensive setup.
And then you got to buy all the cartridges, right? And the cartridges are pre-taped together, which means if they don't fill them all up and it's only half, so you waste half of them.
Yeah.
Right?
I've seen some videos of that where, like you say, a third of them you're wasted. And
hey guys, I gotta go. Y'all
yeah,
have
I do too, Brad. But nice having you on there. I got a kick out of the last couple of videos you did. I can't even remember what the hell they were.
Have a good one, Brad. Thank you.
All right.
So,
nice.
So
Take care.
the refill packs to go in that super are $100, $97.
Yeah.
That ain't happening. I'm sorry. That just isn't going to happen.
I looked at that when I was at one of these conventions I was at, and I'm like, nah, I think I'm gonna pass.
And it's what's that for 40 cartridges?
I guess. I mean, it was a box and the springs and all those other parts and stuff. It all sounds great, but like I say, you got to be a certain flow and everything else. What are you measuring there with that dial caliber?
Hey, on that 1 pound jar, you was talking about how tall it is. It's 4 1/4 inch. What you would cut your comb.
It is.
That's
okay.
what you cut your honey. The jar is taller than that.
Yeah. LaGrange said he's going to put the screw mason jars, screw them in. I'm right there with you. And that's
you could just use 100% foundationless, right? Just what I did is I take the frame and I snap out the little wedge and I glue the wedge in, right? And staple it in. The wedge that would hold the foundation in it. And then I just wax the wood strip and they'll draw down from it. Then you could just cut off of that too.
Bob, you want to hear something funny? I was listening to an interview with Mike Palmer here, maybe in the last couple of months, and he and his neighbor would get into an argument on a regular basis. No, it wasn't him. It was two older guys that were, much older than Mike Palmer, and they would get into an argument constantly about whether to put a starter strip on the frame or not for making their comb honey. And he said every time they got together, they'd argue with that. But the guy with the starter strip, he always won the argument. He always outproduced him or something like that. It was
Really?
a cute story. It's really cute.
Yeah.
But
well, it's getting late. I got to get out of here too.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
well, I know Lee's past his bedtime too. We kept him up. But yeah, we'll go ahead and call it, guys. We appreciate all of you that have hung in with us and all you guys that sat here and chatted with us and the Dirt Rooster and everybody that put up with my BS when Lee was off and, I was lost.
I apologize for being late.
Hey, data recovery, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to do it. So
one folder at a time manually now.
Yeah.
I'm having to go through the DOS prompt and do everything.
So now the rest of the week I get to, I guess, make some nukes and make some videos. Got to put the content out.
Yeah, I gotta get on my single brood chamber management part 2. Get that out there. I've got another part of the part 2 of my Georgia trip coming out this week. In DC, I'll put up a video on that slurry as soon as I make it here in a week or two. And I had somebody else was talking to me about the candy boards. I got to reply to them. So, all right, I'm leaving. I'll talk to you later.
All right, guys,
Okay.
have a good evening.
Yeah.
Well, God bless, guys, and another episode of the Bob Lee Bob B show is on.
The almost
conclusion
4
there.
hours, almost 4 hours again.
Oh yeah.
But we
Yeah.
just never know who's going to stop in, and it doesn't seem like that long. We got Dirt Rooster coming in, sending pictures.
No, she
and
sure
everything.
flows.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah,
Right.
ain't that the truth? Well,
But-
guys, you take care and have a great week.
All right, Mike.
Okay, we'll
We'll
see
see
you
you next
Have a
time.
good one, Mike.
All right.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Lee, I'm glad you made it back.
Yeah.
You can't be leaving me hanging.
I wasn't trying to. I was trying to listen to y'all in the background and concentrate on this computer too.
It's all good, man. I appreciate everything you do, man. You make the show go. Heck, we're using his account to stream from, so if for real it wouldn't have been for him, this wouldn't even be happening. So not like this anyway.
No, we'd figure some way out.
But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I appreciate you. I'm sure I'll be talking to you sometime tomorrow, probably. We talk almost every day on the phone.
I about to say sometimes a couple of times a day.
Yep. Especially if I'm having a real jacked up day and I'm like, hey, what would you do on this? So, all right, guys. Well, everybody have a good evening. Thank you for coming in, and I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.
All right. See you later.